Coleman sent an email to all students reassuring them that the Board of Trustees, as well as the staff, are committed to a smooth transition and are very sympathetic to the current feelings of frustration, anger, and grief over the decision to close down. Birmingham Southern College has been open for 168 years. Stanford University is a private college in Birmingham. Their most recent annual report for 2023 showed a record-breaking enrollment of first-year students in the fall. That was a total of 1,080 students. The report also showed 15 years of consecutive growth in undergraduate enrollment. For 2023, the university had a total of 5,791 students. The Mobile Playhouse in the Park will be performing a drama about the life of Helen Keller this coming April 5th through the 14th. Keller grew up in Tuscumbia, Alabama, as a blind and deaf child who was amazingly taught to communicate by her teacher, Annie Sullivan. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This is former Alabama Supreme Court Justice Glenn Murdoch. Alabama is a great place to live and work and raise our families because Alabamians are a good people of faith and traditional values. But a huge gambling bill in Montgomery would change our culture forever. 10 massive casinos bringing more crime to our big cities and small towns, highly addictive cell phone betting, and the state selling the lie of lottery riches to the poor and most vulnerable. With all that's wrong in the world, this is no time to give up on our traditional values in Alabama. Call and ask your senator to be the leader you elected them to be. To stand strong and vote no on gambling and keep Alabama a great place to live and work and raise our families. Thank you.
Call your senator at 334-261-0800. 334-261-0800. 334-261-0800. Paid for by Eagle Forum, Alabama.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out. Minimum purchase required. Interest accrues from date of purchase, but is waived if paid within promotional period. Go to windowappointmentnow.com for full offer details.
Attention homeowners. Do you know when to replace your windows? Feeling too hot or cold? Fog between the glass? Spending too much on expensive energy that literally goes out the window? It's time to replace. And right now you can get a free in-home window consultation and free price quote from Renewal by Andersen. Plus, with our spring savings event, you can buy one window or door and get one 40% off when you buy 4 or more units. Just text OWN to 200-300 for your free consultation on top quality affordable windows or patio doors for no dollars down, no monthly payments, and no interest for a year. That's right, you don't pay a dime for an entire year. Text OWN to 200-300 to buy one window or door and get one 40% off. And right now, save an extra $30 off every unit. Hurry, this incredible offer is only in April. Text OWN to 200-300. Text the word OWN to 200-300. OWN to 200-300.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
You know, they used to say Abraham Lincoln got the worst press. I said, there's no way he got worse than me.
In politics, man must learn to rise above principle.
Joey Clark.
Welcome into News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader also in the studio with me. How you doing today, Eddie?
I'm desperate need of a haircut, Joey.
Look
at the big hair I got, man.
I think your hair looks fine.
It's too big.
You look handsome.
And I'll be going on a fishing trip tonight at 2 a.m.
So you won't be here tomorrow on the show, but 2 a.m.
Yeah, it's kind of, we're going to fish some lights around Lake Martin. A friend of mine's going. My son's birthday, 36-year-old. I got a 36-year-old son.
Yeah.
His birthday is tomorrow, so it'll be great. Me, him, and my mom's husband, Jack, will be fishing, having a good time. Making memories. Yeah.
Well, happy birthday, Justin.
Yeah. In fact, it was a great morning. He actually called me. He said, what are you doing? I was getting ready to come in here. He said, hey, I'm out front. I'll pick you up in the boat. And it was great. That was awesome. I didn't expect it, and that was
That's
awesome.
pretty cool. Yeah. Now, you were also telling me about you looked into the Trump Bibles, right?
I planned on
you
purchasing
three Trump Bibles.
Was my plan until we got to the fine print.
Oh, no.
It ended up being and maybe this is nothing for other people, but it ended up being like $80 a Bible by the time it was over with.
Oh.
So I kind of had to do some reconfiguration, and I ended up ordering one. But even when I was trying to order that one, I kind of hit a speed bump that really disturbs me, Joey. And maybe if you hadn't ordered a Bible lately online, you didn't know this, but in Alabama, we pay tax on a Bible. We pay sales tax on a Bible.
Yeah. Yeah, the government. They got to get their cut.
They get their cut before I get to talk to Jesus?
I mean,
what
you
do
go
we do
find
here?
a free Bible then where somebody already paid the tax.
Well,
you got to pay the tax man.
I thought about going to a hotel and picking one up, but...
Now, if you get the Kindle version, does it come with like sound effects? Like
Shut up, silly woman.
That I don't know, but I should have looked into that.
There are those that think I'm a very stable genius.
I'm also very much of a germaphobe, by the way.
You know, they used to say Abraham Lincoln got the worst press. I said, there's no way he got worse than me.
Yeah.
So, yes, I have bought one of the Trump Bibles for a good friend of mine in Jamaica, and he's already told me how much he's going to cherish it. So.
Oh, okay. Nice. Yeah. He's been on the show before, Marvin.
Yep.
Yeah,
Marvin. He has a church. He's a bit of a missionary, and he has a church here in Jamaica. And I've told him about it. He's all excited. And I'm glad. You know, to me, that's still a good thing. I'm supporting Trump, buying a Bible. I'm giving it to a great friend of mine who's really going to appreciate it. And honestly, it'll probably be one of those things in his family that'll be there for generations.
And this isn't like an April Fool's prank.
No, it's the real deal.
This is the real deal.
Yeah.
Anybody tried to prank you today yet?
Not that I know of, unless I just ignored him and kept going. I don't know. No. But $6.18 is the tax you'll pay on the Trump Bible if you buy it in Alabama.
Nuts. That is nuts. Tax and Bibles.
Come on.
What are they going to do next?
It just disturbs me, man.
Well, apparently we've passed a law in Alabama that, according to one representative who hopped on CNN on a segment of how LGBTQ rights are being taken away in Alabama.
Really?
He said that because of the new divisive concepts bill, you can't talk to kids about sexuality or sexual orientation, and so that means you can't teach them about Martha and George Washington because that's a heterosexual couple.
I got to be honest. Growing up, I didn't learn that much about Martha. Heard mainly George. It's mainly George.
What did she ever do?
Hung out with a guy with wooden teeth.
Yeah, you're talking about a guy who was called the man of the century by even King George III after America secedes and has independence successfully. King George III praises George Washington. Napoleon, upon Washington's death, has this huge parade in his honor, called him, again, the man of the century. What did Martha ever do?
She made that man happy, didn't she?
Yeah. Well, it's a good name. It's a good name. And also, the more you learn about our founding fathers, they're rough folks. Rough folks.
Would you go as far as saying they're a little bit rednecky?
Yeah, man. Well, you fight the French and the Indians on the frontier. See how you turn out.
Oof. Yeah.
No, really, when you look at the founding generation, they would be considered terrorists today.
100%.
Because when they say these rights are self-evident, they're essentially like, yeah, we're not paying attention to your taxes, to your rules anymore. Our rights are self-evident, and talk to the musket, bish.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And it's a single shot.
Right. And they used it pretty effectively, too. So I don't know, but that's one thing that's come out, that apparently you can't teach Martha and George Washington history or something. Careful going to Martha's Vineyard. They might start talking about old George Washington sex. See, that's the problem, reducing marriage to the sexuality. It's one component of a healthy marriage.
Boy, the longer you're... I don't even...
Go ahead. What were you going to say? The longer you're married.
The longer you're married, it's not that, I don't know, it just doesn't seem that important anymore. It does. It's still there, but to teach, what are you going to teach about your own sexuality with your wife? Who wants to hear that?
I don't want to hear that.
Right, no one wants to hear that.
Right. It's like that Monty Python skit with John Cleese.
Right. No.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. I don't need that at all. Apparently, Alabama, there's a report by Erica Thomas on the struggling real estate market in statewide. And then on top of that, we didn't get to it last week, a story on the meltdown of commercial real estate nationwide.
I called that 2 years ago.
And I got a crash course in it. My buddy I visited in Boston,
Yeah,
he is literally, he's doing well for himself. He's at the tippy top of that industry there in Boston. And he's like, yeah, look at all these towers, man. They're ghost towns. And it's only getting worse.
It's funny you say that. When a friend of mine was in China, this was several years ago, there was constantly new buildings going up. There were this and taller than that one, new tallest building in the world. So he was looking at one and with his friend that was there, and they were telling him about it. And he said, but it doesn't look like there's any offices. And he goes, oh, yeah, all of these buildings.
Right.
All of these buildings are empty.
Right. So also 60 Minutes, which we won't play because they'll ban our stream. You play a little bit of 60 Minutes. That's copyrighted material. It's like, okay, whatever.
It's bad too, but yeah.
Yeah, they have done an investigation. And you remember Havana Syndrome?
Yes, I read this. I didn't get to watch it, but I read the deal.
It's the Ruskies.
Yeah. Does that surprise you?
No, it doesn't surprise me, but also, this is a theme now. I don't believe a damn word they have to say. Whether it's 60 Minutes or the federal government. Like, I don't believe a word you have to say.
One and the same.
Yeah, they are.
One and the same.
Seriously, you could slap Department of Information on a lot of the corporate media and their jobs wouldn't change.
Correct. Very correct.
And we'll get to more fallout of Rona McDaniel being fired. You had David Brooks, who was saying, well, when you jump on our airwaves and our newspapers, you have to be, dedicated to the truth and intellectual honesty.
That's a lie right there.
Yeah, that
Does
is.
she get paid, though?
Lie.
Does she still get paid?
I wonder. I bet.
I bet she's got a heck of a lawyer that's going to get her a chunk of change.
A severance for not working somewhere.
I showed up to 0 days.
Well, knowing NBC, when they fired Shane Gillis from SNL, they still paid him for that first-year contract.
Sure did.
Which, good
well,
on
got
Laura
that
Michaels.
kind of government money, why not?
Yeah, the more I heard that story, I'm like, Laura Michaels seems like a pretty solid dude.
It ain't his money. It's the government's money.
You're still on that. The Department of Information on NBC. But then there's also breaking news. As I was preparing about 30 minutes before the show, Israel has bombed Iranian commanders in Damascus. I thought Gaza's to the south. Oh, wait. They're striking north. And right next to the embassy for Iran, the Quds, like the Al-Quds force, their commander was reportedly killed.
Oh, boy.
The Iranian ambassador's residence targeted in missile strike, 6 dead. Uh-oh.
Good boy.
Wider war, here we might come. Though I'm suspecting the Israelis have something ready for Hezbollah.
I believe they do.
But Hezbollah also could really hurt Israel. Really hurt them. They have the means to do it. Okay. And it only takes a few, heavy-duty missiles getting through to cause a lot of problems.
You ever heard Israel beg for mercy?
No.
You ever hear Hezbollah beg for mercy every day, every other day, every twice on Sunday?
Hezbollah? They're pretty effective fighting force, man. Do not underestimate. Hamas is a different story, I think. ISIS-K. There's now worries that there's going to be an ISIS-K attack in the U.S. Now after the one in Moscow.
Does that concern you?
I still think it's pig Latin for CIA.
Thank you.
And, well, no, but Hezbollah, don't take them lightly. They're pretty capable force. They're one of the most capable in the region. So.
But they're no Israel. Not even.
I agree with that.
Not even.
But, when you start having fights on multiple fronts, and what does Egypt do? What does Turkey do? By the way, in Turkey.
Yeah, Joe.
When you kind of let inflation rip, people tend not to like it. Erdogan, the president there, and his party have suffered the worst defeat in 20 years in Turkish local elections at the mayoral level, which is shocking.
That's shocking.
But again, if you waste away people's money.
Yeah. But
then
it's at the local level that it surprises me because they usually have a much better control on things there.
Now, going to more Alabama/national news.
Yeah.
Tommy Tuberville in the press today. This is written up by Jeff Poor. And, we're still months away from when the presidential nominees have historically selected their running mates.
Yep.
However, that is not stopping speculation on presumptive Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump's pick for his Veep. Mm-hmm. According to a Politico report published Sunday, vetting is underway at Mar-a-Lago and is led by Trump advisor Susie Wilds. You know Susie?
I do not, but I'd like to meet her.
I'd like to get to know Susie, too. Wilds may be a familiar name for Alabama political watchers for her role in former U.S. Ambassador to Slovenia, Lindy Blanchard.
That's where I knew that name from. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, we know Lindy.
I love her.
Good.
I think she's a wonderful woman.
Yeah.
Yep.
Among the names in the political piece by Meredith McGraw, Natalie, Allison, Burgess Everett are, here's some of the names. Tim Scott.
No,
I can see the Django memes already.
No, not going to happen.
I can see the Boondock memes already.
Yep.
J.D. Vance.
Like it, but no.
I like it, but you don't think it's going to happen. I agree with you.
He goes.
Marco Rubio.
Not even close, but I would love it. So, just so Trump could put him on a leash and drag him behind him wherever he goes.
Come on, little Marco.
Exactly.
Come on, little Marco.
Exactly.
I'll give you a treat when we get home, little Marco.
Give you the cheese stacks. Come on. Come on.
Okay, boss. Governor Christy Nome.
No.
No?
I watched the thing with her this weekend, but no.
She's okay.
Yeah.
She's just all right.
Right.
I wasn't that impressed with her speech here in Alabama a couple years back. I met her. She sat at the table I was sitting at before she went up there. And I was like, yeah.
Did you tell her to break a leg or anything?
No. I was more like, she's attractive, but she's wearing way too much makeup. So I'm feeling like I'm being lied to. You know how much makeup that is? You know,
That's some thick stuff.
I just
theater makeup.
Yeah, theater. Mm-hmm. Should we start doing theater makeup, like eyeliner? And all
because
that?
I will walk out of here and forget about it.
Now, the next name thrown out there is Sarah Sanders. Sarah
I
Huckabee
like her,
Sanders.
but she's doing great in Arkansas. Leave her be. I think
She sounds like a great pick because she was such an effective Trump translator when she was press secretary after the miserable tenure of Sean Spicer.
You ain't kidding. SNL did a skit on him and it nailed it.
Yeah, Melissa McCarthy destroyed him.
Nailed it.
Now, the other guy who we very much liked in the early GOP primary debates, Doug Burgum. I like Doug. Seems down home. Seems like a grounded man with billions of dollars.
Right.
Could be 2 billionaires.
Usable Patsy.
U.S. Representative Byron Donalds. I like Byron, but I think that would be throwing him right into the fire really early.
Ready for that.
Former U.S. Representative, the sexy witch, Tulsi Gabbard.
I would like. Oof, I don't think the two would get along.
You don't think they would get along?
I think they would pretend.
I mean,
for as long as they
Eddie,
could.
have you seen her? I love doing.
I did see her.
I love doing HIIT workouts, calisthenics. She's got me skinny again.
She's that Fantastic Four chick.
Oh, with the streak?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I think it looks great. And then the last name in the political piece is Alabama's junior senator, U.S. Senator, Katie Britt. I don't really.
I like the idea. I love that her name's being put out there.
That's great,
but no, I don't see it yet.
No, I want to find that guy who told her she would never be president at UA, at University of Alabama, so we need to do an interview with that guy to be like, she'll never be president of the United States. Because it seems that he always is wrong.
As of right now, he's still right. She's not
Or
president.
maybe I can be that guy. Hey, Katie, if you're listening, if mom's out there listening, or dad, she'll never be president. I'll be the bad guy.
You'll say it, huh? Now, are you going to be there during the inauguration? Right?
Sure, I'm invited. Okay. Why not? So I can hang out with all the rest of the lizards. But however, in this same Politico report, Trump ally, this is why I like him so much, U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville, let's call him Coach.
Oh, Tubbs, yeah.
Coach dismissed all the names, including Katie Britt, as quote-unquote propaganda.
I agree with him, man.
He'll ask you about people, Senator Tuberville said in an interview. The senator cautioned that those names being promoted by Trump allies or political consultants should be treated skeptically. All I can tell you is if you're hearing any names, it ain't going to be them. It's all propaganda. The former football coach said all the name floating felt familiar, like football coaches whenever there's a job opening. My agent always put my name in there to get me a raise, get me publicity and all that. Tuberville echoed Trump's own advisors who have expressed annoyance at some of the behind-the-scenes maneuverings of consultants.
Not a surprise.
The Politico report also suggests Britt's State of the Union response is working against her. You know, I have an aunt and uncle who are like, yeah, it was bad.
Really?
Yeah, and they're pretty conservative folks. They like Katie, but they're like, we didn't think it was
Just didn't like it.
Yeah.
They give specifics?
They thought it was too over the top.
Over the top, okay. Which we've talked about.
Well, I mean, when you have a line that's saying it wasn't just that she was raped, but how many times she was raped, you have to deliver that with a certain tone that I don't think was quite struck.
Right.
Actually, they should have just replayed that impromptu press conference where she told that story the first time. That was actually good.
Yeah.
Actually, I read the speech and watched it back again. I'm like, it's fine. It's not, it's just not like
I've watched it
10.
a couple times and it just.
Right. But one Republican strategist close to Trump's campaign said each candidate comes with their own set of baggage.
Yeah.
Okay.
No surprise there.
You get the one with the bags, I'll get the one with the tub. There's no one, this is a quote from one of the Republican strategists close to the Trump campaign, quote, there's no one that checks every single box that they're looking for. Britt, for one, had a widely panned State of the Union rebuttal. Noam just made a strange advertisement for veneers. Remember what I said about too much makeup? Now we're talking veneers?
Nah.
And and there's nothing wrong with that. Your teeth are bad.
Yeah.
Right.
Crystal meth.
And several hopefuls have come across to Trump as too eager.
Oh, little Marco. Would you get on your knees? Would you eat your dinner from that little bowl there, little Marco?
Marco's got a better shot than others because Trump knows that that's my boy. If I need something, I got it.
See, I don't think it'll be anybody from the Senate. The Senate's too tight right now.
That's and you need the people. Lose somebody else. No.
Yeah. And especially when you're talking about Katie Brett or J.D. Vance, they just got there.
They're people we need in there, and they're people that are doing, as I see it, the right thing. Yeah, don't pull them.
Right. So I don't see it whatsoever. I mean, I think it's going to be a name we don't yet know, though. Tulsi Gabbard's interesting.
Think so, huh?
I think so.
Might cast a spell.
Not going to be Rand Paul with his Rand Paul hair?
Egos.
Yeah.
Too bad, though. Too bad.
Don't think it's going to be Lindsey Graham?
God, no. Although somebody should tell him just so it scares the crap out of him and he goes into another.
Maybe he does go with, maybe he kisses and makes up with Ron DeSantis. Nah.
Did you see the news AD and the Disney thing this weekend?
What, they settled or something? Yeah.
All those people that said that Disney was going to come out on time? All the MSNBC folks that said laughed at Ron DeSantis?
Well, have you seen their Marvel properties and their Star Wars properties?
Ah.
Yeah. Like, you literally put a woman in charge of Star Wars who said, Star Wars is too male-centric in its storytelling.
And she also said...
Like, you know who nerds are.
She never saw the original Star Wars.
That's just an insult.
It is.
But I'm not even that big of a Star Wars nerd.
That's what we're doing nowadays. And
it's just an insult.
It is.
To everybody. So how about this? Let's hit a quick break. Okay. We're going to have Dick Brubaker at noon, but we'll have him on the phone at the start of the 1 o'clock hour.
1 o'clock. All right.
So look forward to talking to Dick Brubaker, candidate for Congress in the brand new Alabama District 2. Tomorrow we should have Caroline Dobson.
Excellent.
On at 2. So that runoff date is getting close. Yeah. We got about half a month because today's the 1st.
Yeah.
And the runoff's the 16th.
Mm-hmm.
So be ready, folks.
It's coming.
I think it's going to be all about turnout.
Oh, no doubt.
All about turnout.
No doubt.
Which means these ads you see on TV, even if you're like, sophisticated like me, and you're like, oh, who would ever fall for that, Bubby? And, a lot of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's just keep all that in mind. More to get to after this quick break. News and views in the afternoon.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Honey?
Yeah?
Do you think it's safe using all these extension cords?
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
Actually, too many extension cords can be dangerous. Call Crosby Electric to add new outlets.
Sure is dark in our yard.
Good. We'll sleep better.
Maybe you will.
Crosby Electric does landscaping lighting for beauty and safety, as well as security lighting for peace of mind.
Oh, darn. The vacuum cleaner just tripped a breaker.
Honey, never vacuum while I'm making popcorn.
Tripping breakers can indicate a potential fire hazard. You really should have it checked out by Crosby Electric, serving the river region for almost 50 years.
Sweetheart, are you ever afraid that lightning could damage our electrical system?
Afraid? Come on. No. Maybe we should call Crosby. Just give him a call.
Whole house surge protection can protect you and your possessions. For an assessment and for all your electrical needs, call Crosby Electric 272-2085 or visit us at crosbyelectric.com.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group. Selling a home in the river region in this market takes some planning and preparation to be successful. Here are some steps to take to get your home sold fast. Remember the 5 Ps. Prepare the home, fresh coat of paint inside and out, and complete any repairs needed. Professionally clean the home. A deep cleaning of floors, cabinets, windows, and blinds will leave a great impression for future buyers. Provide a home warranty for the buyer to give the buyer peace of mind after the closing. Provide a closing cost allowance for the buyer to help them be able to afford your home. Price your home to sell, not sit. A comparative market analysis from a local realtor will demonstrate what other properties have sold for in your neighborhood. Well-priced homes sell faster with less hassle. Houses are selling fast and sellers are getting top dollar. For all the answers, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group, 221-2883 or 551-0225.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm Joey. He's Eddie.
Hey, buddy.
How you doing, man?
Lots of stuff going on.
Yeah,
Joey.
you seem all
Lots
over
of
the place.
Balls in the air today.
What was that?
Juggling.
You're juggling balls today?
Well, just stuff. Lots of stuff.
You should juggle bowling pins instead.
What happens when those things come down?
It hurts, but it's better than being known as a guy who juggles balls.
This is very true. This is very true.
Now, let's go to some of the clips that we have prepared for today. One is James Carville.
Oh, Lord.
Now, he was talking about them preachy women.
Mm-hmm.
Today, he's talking about all those folks just want to say F it. He's talking about all those dumb people, too, in Alabama. You know, in Huntsville, they're smart, but the rest of the state, they're just dumb down there.
That's what I've heard, Joe. That's what I've heard.
So, yeah, James Carville is, man, look at the guy. Just look at that face.
How old is Carville?
He's probably in his 70s now.
Oh,
is
wow.
my guess.
I figured 80 plus.
You think 80s?
I just always figured, because he's always looked this old. Since I was a teenager, he's always looked this old.
Well, it's kind of like Arn Anderson, who always looked 40.
Yes.
Yeah. There's some friends I have, too. They always looked 40,
age.
yeah. Which is kind of a great way to go.
Sure.
But here's Carville laying out the way he sees the political map right now. Let's try to listen in together.
I think that these election results around the country are encouraging. You know, we went in with that race in Alabama. She won by 25. That was a 50-50.
She won by 25.
Maybe a slightly red, but it is 100.
Well, and now let me contradict myself.
Bill, there's a lot of educated people in that part of Alabama. That's not typical of the rest of the state in many ways.
And the third party issue.
So the Bobby Kennedy thing, I actually think Bobby Kennedy might hurt Trump more than he hurts.
It's funny you say that. Well, we have one headline, Politico said, RFK is a spoiler, but for who?
Yeah, and you take a poll now, but I think there's a certain percent of people in the country that are just F the whole thing.
F it all,
Take it, F it all.
Yeah.
And Biden is not going to get any of the F it all vote.
Yeah.
Okay. And
how are you not at that point? The F it all vote. Who is not at that point?
I think there's people on both sides not there.
You mean privileged, out of touch people?
Yes. Exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Exactly what I mean.
Our institutions are doing just fine, by golly. And it's just all you malcontents that won't accept all the great outcomes we're providing for you.
Exactly.
I mean, the debt's not really an issue. In fact, we need to spend more, and we need to go and fight more wars because we're America, and we're moral, and we're better than everybody else, right?
That's exactly right.
So, yeah, I think actually Carville's analysis there is correct, that the F-it crowd is very much going to jump in with some of these third-party candidates, but especially Trump. But I don't agree that Kennedy is necessarily the one that pulls from Trump.
I don't think so either.
Especially with this latest VP choice.
How does he get in that? Is there something I'm missing? Because I don't see where they're going to pull from Trump at all. Trump's not the candidate that's stumbling around, that screwed the economy, that said yesterday was National whatever day instead of Easter.
Yeah, but Trump is a vehement racist who caused Charlottesville.
No, none of those things are
Trump
true.
doesn't want gay people to exist.
Again, I don't think any of those things are true.
That's what they told me.
Have you asked him?
He hates.
Have you looked at his
all
records?
the gay people?
Have you looked at his records to see?
And he hates Jews too.
I'm pretty sure that's not true.
Yeah,
I'm pretty confident.
His daughter did literally convert.
Yeah,
to have Jewish children.
Plus, in that realm that he's in, you don't hate Jews, no.
Well, what is wrong with Trump then?
He wrote some mean tweets.
He's going to abandon our NATO allies by getting them to spend more.
You know, he was going to get them to spend more, and he did. I don't think there's an abandon thing, but he did bring up a good fact that we all need to look at. What are we doing with NATO right now? Besides spending money.
I'm trying to think of the bad stuff. He says mean things.
He did do some mean tweeting. That didn't bother me none.
I loved it.
Right. It bothered me absolutely zero, but apparently some people are more triggered than I am.
And he said, and he hasn't changed. He's not going to change. Remember where he talked about the bloodbath?
Oh, yeah.
The man wants to be a dictator. He wants violence. He wants to destroy democracy by winning an election.
By winning an election?
And then having the government actually run by the people who are elected, not the expert class. Democracy is when unelected experts run everything and advise the people we elect.
With that bloodbath, though, then where's the bloodbath come in at?
It's all over the place. Blood coming out of your eyes, blood coming out of your ears, blood coming out of her wherever.
It seems like it'd be a pretty smooth transition with what he wants to do. I don't see where the people would get upset and there would be a bloodbath. I think as soon as people realize gas that now we just paid $3.17 a gallon for is back at $1.89, and we don't have Mexico threatening us with what they want, $20 billion. Yeah, I can't. And in fact, I think he made a comment on that. But I long for the day when he is president. He's going to make that guy eat his words.
Oh no, actually, Trump clearly hates women. I mean,
have you met his wife?
Yeah, I mean, but that doesn't. She's got all sorts of false consciousness.
Shut up, silly woman.
See, only a misogynist would say that.
Rosie O'Donnell was who he's talking to there. That was it. And that's that one, and we give him one. Okay.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think of like all the bad things.
Apparently there was a lot. And maybe we were just so
hates
caught
women.
up in pro-Trump that we didn't see it.
He wants to love, I love the blacks. But every time he says the blacks, they're like, we don't know if you actually do love us.
It comes out funny, so he could work on that a little bit.
He hates, of course, Hispanics because he wants to seal the border.
But there's a whole Hispanics for Trump's group out there.
He separated children at the border and put kids in cages.
That was actually Obama who did that. I think Trump actually fixed that. He did want to build that wall, though. So, you know, for some people, that was a little bit too much.
He made a lot of money with Saudi Arabia. That is kind of true.
Okay.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's just all of them up there.
Made a lot of money with them shoes, too, but I ain't mad about it.
The Trump shoes? Did you buy those, too, along with the Bible?
Because they were sold out. Dude, you think Bitcoin is hot? Trump shoes, baby.
Well, here's one problem for Trump here.
Yeah.
I believe Truth Social had a $58 million, they report a $58 million loss. They reported it, Truth Social.
Okay.
And expect, quote, no profit for the foreseeable future. But Trump's stake is $3 billion. I love how fake the economy is. Fake news, fake dollars, Donald Trump.
If they were to look at, say, our records, your bank records, my bank records, yeah, they would probably say the same thing.
Yeah.
This is no way this is going to last.
Yeah, I know.
We need to shut these guys down immediately.
Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Yes, we talked to Jeff.
Hey, we talked to Jeff.
What's up, buddy?
Hey, I had a truck driver that came to our store the other day, and he made one good comment about Trump.
Okay.
He said, we're not voting for him to be our preacher. We're voting for him to be our president, and he was a damn good one.
Amen.
And that's what we need back in there, and get Adolf Joe out of there.
There you go.
Good old Uncle Joe. Yeah.
He's moving kind of slow at the junction.
Yeah, just a little bit, and I'm not buying it when they put him on uppers. Like, you just look weird.
You know, it's a hard crash, too.
Right.
He looks like he got little devil horns on his forehead. Look at some of the pictures from the front. He looks like he got a little devil horn right up under his skin.
Right. Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's stretched out way too much. Those skin suits wear out.
Yeah, they do.
Well,
and Nancy Pelosi's eyebrows are too high.
Say the least.
That's not the only thing on her that's too high. Yeah. That ain't natural.
No.
I appreciate the call with Tonka Jeff.
Bye-bye.
No, that's right. We're not electing him to be a preacher.
We're not.
Pastor.
That's the thing.
Right.
Nick Saban. Great coach.
But then you just bought his Bible. But Nick Saban, great coach.
Great coach. everybody loves a coach like that. And look what he's done with that team. And he's not out there asking them to do stuff. And he's not out there, begging them to do things. He's telling them what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And we're seeing success. He has seen success. Why would we not want that in a president? You don't want a nice president? He's nice to me. He cares about me. Growing up, my dad, a lot of times I didn't think he was the nicest guy in the world. But you know what? He was always looking out for my best interest. What's wrong with that in a president? Why don't we want that in a president? Biden seems to care about everybody else except Americans. Mm-hmm. And I don't see how people hadn't caught on to that yet.
Hey, do you want a quick lesson from the Ministry of Information?
Sure.
Rona McDaniel was fired.
Yeah.
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 Well, do you know David Brooks is? I believe he's a New York Times columnist.
I know who he is. Yeah.
And he's kind of conservative, but not really.
Yeah, he's fake. But
yeah. Yeah, he's one of those types. But he's asked about the whole Rona McDaniel thing.
Okay.
And let's listen in. Why was Rona McDaniel hired and then so unceremoniously fired? Let's see what they have to say.
My next question. I want to talk about what happened with Rona McDaniel at NBC.
Right.
For those who are not following this, she was hired by NBC to be an on-air contributor. She's the former chairperson of the Republican National Committee. And there was a revolt amongst many NBC anchors who said, we can't have someone who actively tried to undo the last election be on our payroll and be on our airwaves. What do you make of how that played out?
I was glad they had the instinct to get more Trump-supporting people on the air. I think that's something we all need to work on. But here was someone clearly over the line. To be on our air or in our newspapers, you got to have some intellectual credibility. You have to some primary commitment to the truth, and the truth above partisanship.
Can I ask you a question about that?
I said the guy on PBS.
You remember that lady that was on Fox News? She was a heavy dim, and she actually gave some questions to Hillary Clinton about
Donna Brazile. Yeah.
How can he ever say anything about anybody?
Well, that was more CNN and MSNBC. We at PBS or ABC or CBS or NBC.
U.S. government intel. That's what it all is.
Well, Eddie, if you want to be on our airwaves, you have to have some intellectual honesty and some fealty to the truth above partisanship.
That's not the case.
Well, no, I think they are above partisanship. I think they're lapdogs for an establishment that's continuing to screw over the American people. And for 60, 70, 80 years, call it a century, they've been able to play this game of we're professional, objective journalists. Because they were the only game in town. It's like, I watch Walter Cronkite. Oh, you dope. I only trust David Brinkley. And it was like Coke or Pepsi. It's not like they're both sugary soft drinks that are going to rot your teeth and probably upset your stomach. Like, it's not much of an option.
It wasn't.
And now that we actually have options, the game is up. The jig is up. We see through you. I'm not saying everybody with a microphone on radio or everybody with a platform on social media is saying the God's honest truth. I'm more saying that everybody's now being honest about how we're competing dishonestly for power. Everybody.
This is true.
And if you think, well, not my side, you're mistaken. I'll be nice. You're mistaken. You're misinformed.
Misinformed. That's a very nice way to put it.
No, when this much power is at stake, of course they're lying to you. Of course. Grow up, Peter Pan. Let's go to line one. You're on there. Who's this?
Red Top. Good Monday, gentlemen.
Good.
Hey, Red Top.
On the Capitol Report from Washington, D.C. on NPR, Friday night, saw a good roundtable discussion of this whole Rona McDaniel thing. And there was one black lady that really got it, who was an analyst there. And she said, this is probably the media, NBC, trying to, quote, make up with the Trump campaign in view of who's the likely winner of the next election. That's what this woman, who is not a Republican, but she gave them the reality check. And she was very much embarrassed about what they did with Rona McDaniel, because obviously they're not smart enough to have anybody that challenges them anywhere close than 100 miles. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I tend to think it was more like a sort of a golden parachute. Oh, you got fired from the RNC. Here, come over here. We'll give you a contract. You played ball well.
Then I saw her replacement, Laura Trump, on NTV News this weekend, and Laura kicked ass.
Or is it Lara?
Is it Laura or Lara? I don't know. I thought it was Laura too.
Either one would do fine for me.
Okay.
She's just another good-looking Trump woman. She kicks ass.
Yeah, just another
Don't
one
do
of
good,
those.
fellas. She's not going to mess around, and I have to say, he's liable to have to go to more family members to get any trusted people.
I agree.
He did really good with his family. Like Jared Kushner kicked ass in the Middle East, buddy. Can't nobody say anything other than that. So he's going to have to go to more family members. And I don't know how did Trump do on his fundraiser this weekend. Does anybody know yet?
I don't even know.
Would be worth checking into because.
Well, I know he got some money out of this guy over here with the Bibles.
Got $80 out of me.
Oh, they were talking about that too. Wow, and it's a bizarre thing, but there was a thing how he's actually the evangelicals.
Biden announces for the next year, just fell on Easter this year.
Yeah.
Trans Visibility Day.
Whatever, dude.
Which, because they've been so invisible in national media for the last few years.
Look at me.
Yes, on Easter. That's a good way to piss all the Christians off, isn't it, fellas?
Is it not, man?
Roll Tide, go Trump. Thank you.
And, I think Red Top will keep listening here. There's a nun that came out with a message.
Oh?
Yeah, a nun. Now, I'm starting to see why Red Top used to be so worried about the nuns wrapping them on the wrist or on the knuckles or something. Because let's listen in. I'm not even sure who this is. It just says Catholic nun dialed in. So let's listen together. Ready?
It's an election year in the U.S. In normal times, an election is the moment.
Wait, is that Rosie?
It looks that way, doesn't it?
Kind of sounded like her there for a second. Anyway, we'll go back to this.
Ordinary people can take back control of their nation's destiny. But these are not normal times. Across the globe, men and women are waking up to the alarming truth that governments no longer serve God or the people. And beloved, I'll interrupt to say myself that if President Trump gets in, it's a complete act of God. If the Democrats, if Biden is not reelected, it is a complete act of God because every scheme and every evil is out there that he would continue to be our president, as inept and evil as he is. At least done evil things. And those that surround him and advise him and even direct him, the devil is wise. And I would not put it past them to do anything. I know that recently someone has made a motion that no one should be able to vote who cannot prove U.S. citizenship. I totally agree with that. But there are those in the Democratic Party who do not. So we are up against not just an election, but an absolute war for good against good and evil.
Coming from someone like her, it's the first time I can remember someone like her speaking up for this. That's
right.
I wonder what the pushback will be on from people that can do that to people like her.
I'm sure they'll figure something out.
I'm just proud of her that she would stand up and say something.
No, it's like, honestly, if you're a really devout Catholic, you look at Trump and Biden, you're like, baby killer, philanderer, like, what am I? Like, yeah. If you're like really Catholic, nobody's ever good enough. Just ask my mother.
I was going to say, it's just being a Catholic, though.
Yeah, it is. I inherited that from her. Nothing is ever good enough.
My mom ain't Catholic, but got some of that running
She
through her.
Jewish?
You would think so. Probably so.
Yeah.
No, actually, take it back. We're German. Kite.
Oh, German.
Last name Kite.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'll be German.
Very German.
And on that weird note, let's hit a break.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, But whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi, I'm Paul Doe. Me and my wife Jessica own the Seafood Bistro over here in Perry Hill and Carmichael. We've been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for going on 3 years now. It has been a great turnout. It's been a pleasure partnering with a local company like Blue Water. And if you have your own business, I suggest teaming up with a partner like Blue Water Broadcasting. It's a local company that helps local businesses.
Now you can add the power of digital advertising to the #1 reach of radio. Let Blue Water's 20 years of local advertising and marketing success show you how. Grow your business with a complete suite of digital solutions, combined with the reach of the most listened to radio group in the River region. Call us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
The Health and Wealth Show. The Health and Wealth Show. The show so nice, we said it twice. Weekday evenings at 6 on News Talk 93.1 WACV. The Health.
Make it up, son. Joke's over, hey?
With the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason. Back to work today for Wall Street following the long Easter holiday weekend. Economic reports due out this week include trade, jobless claims, vehicle sales, and the government's comprehensive March jobs report. UPS shares rose 2.2% after the package delivery company said it will become the primary air cargo provider for the United States Postal Service, significantly expanding an existing partnership between the two. Shares of UPS rival FedEx fell 1.7% before the opening bell. The World Bank has released a report forecasting that economies in developing countries of East Asia and the Pacific will grow 4.5% this year, down from 5.1% in 2023. It estimates China's economy will expand 4.5% this year, down from 5.2% in 2023. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Rich Thomason.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where dump truck drivers are in demand. Wiley Sanders is on the grow. We need dump truck drivers now. Call 855-77-9785.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to April. We've been enjoying a beautiful string of warm, dry days, but we have some weather changes on the way as a cool front approaches. Mostly cloudy today, very warm with a high in the mid-80s. Continued dry this evening and tonight, overnight low 66. Tomorrow's high up to about 86 with scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially by Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening ahead of a cold front. Some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. Then a big change, breezy, much cooler Wednesday. High temperatures only in the 60s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and probably down to 39 on Thursday night. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At ASE Credit Union, financing your next adventure is easier than ever with rates as low as 5.25%. Apply online or visit your local branch today. Federally insured by the NCUA, Equal Opportunity Lender.
ASE Credit Union, your life, your goals, your ASE.
Sunken Tractor Cafe is reopening on April 6th. Local favorites including garlic butter burgers, gyros, Reubens, and brisket sandwiches. The fryer is open to feature French fries, appetizers, and desserts. Beer and wine, too. Go see them April 6th from 11 to 8 and Thursday through Saturday thereafter. Sunken Tractor on Facebook or Maherg Road, Wetumpka.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the Afternoon. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and they're the best game in town, folks. They really are amazing. That's why they've grown so much over these last few years, because, you don't often hear the success stories coming out of the pandemic. Pest Pro Services is one of them.
Definitely, Joey.
Ashley has put together an amazing team, and of course, they can help you, especially this time of the year, with your pest control problems, in particular termites. You need to get a termite inspection done. You need to get termite treatment done, because that treatment is going to be a lot less expensive than if you end up with damage. In fact, Pest Pro can essentially lay down bait. Right. So if termites do hit your property, they'll know when they hit the bait, come out and take care of them. That's again, this is a much cheaper option than having to replace framing and all sorts of other crown molding, drywall, all sorts of stuff there.
Entire walls.
Yeah, entire walls, essentially. But of course, they can also help you with mosquitoes.
Yeah. Okay. I got a report.
They went and did your
They
yard.
did my stuff.
You're next to the
Thursday
lake.
or Friday. I'm right on the water. I got woods all around me.
Yeah.
So this weekend, we spent the whole weekend up there. It was great, relaxing time. I saw maybe 5 or 6 mosquitoes the entire time.
Wow.
But, we stayed outside and we stayed on the decks. We did not have one mosquito bite on us.
That's amazing.
The week before that, we couldn't enjoy the decks because we were just getting carried away by the mosquitoes.
Oh, especially when they get that sweet meat around the ankle or the wrist.
Yes. So I'm so glad they came. Jonathan's my guy. He's the man. In fact, he was their, I believe, employee of the quarter. They took care of us, man. I cannot push it enough on people. That really, really works.
So get some mosquito treatment if you want to actually enjoy your front or back porch, your actual backyard. And, of course, they can help you with all of your pest control problems there at Pest Pro Services. You might as well make them your everyday pest control.
It's worked out well for
me. That number, 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or, just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces or just go to ppsriverregion.com. When you want to know, call a pro, Pest Pro Services. Be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. Now, we're getting plenty of comments rolling in from the peanut gallery.
Oh?
Yeah. I mean, a bunch of folks just saying, yo. Mark Cumby saying, hi, Mark. Sam saying, yo, you and all. Hi, Sam, or Sizzling Spam. George and Martha, America's original power couple, says Sam. Like Clooney and Zeta Jones. Should be good-looking babies, I'll admit.
Yeah. I'll go with that.
Gumptown John says, Vivek for Veep. I like
Me
Vivek.
too. But do you think
I
it's
voted
ever
for
really
Vivek.
going to go that route?
No.
I'd like to think in the
I don't think it's
background
happening.
it's working, but I'm kind of like you. I don't think it's going to.
And Romex Angler says, Tulsi was too deep in the Democratic Party to be reformed. She was third in charge when Hillary lost to Trump.
She's still alive.
Well, Romex, the story she tells is pretty convincing, but who knows? She could just be lying to us and, swaying me in other ways. That happens to me. I can be tricked.
Yes.
And Gumptown John says, I don't know if Tulsi holds the conservative principles to be VP. Principles? What's principles?
I think you check them at the door.
And then Romex Angler says, oh my goodness, all she could potentially help with would be horny males like Joey. That's just rude.
Wow, somebody dialed you in.
Well, and then Gumptown John says, that's but a fleeting moment, and then lose interest. You know me too well, Gumptown John. Just the flashes of flashes.
I see.
Just momentary. Now, Gumptown John saying, and I agree, not happy with any political party.
Agree.
Yeah.
Agree.
Yeah, I completely agree. Kim Mayton jumping in saying, who cares about mean tweets? Here, Kim. Here.
You tell me that was the biggest complaint I had from snowflakes.
Right. Some people saying Carville is right. Others something broken clock. Well, I appreciate. And Kim goes on to say, Guten Tag.
Far from pooping.
And on that wholesome note, let's go to, Trump.
All right.
Because coming up, we'll be calling Dick Brubaker here.
All right.
Hold on. Oh, is he talking to Brian? Kill me.
Buddy, that's your hero.
But that plane is nice.
What would you expect?
Let's listen in together.
If you don't win, they're gone.
Well, if I don't win, that means your taxes are going to go up fourfold.
Right.
Fourfold.
For 5 weeks, it looks like they say you're going to be stuck in a courtroom 4 days a week.
Yeah. This is all
How do you
because of
overcome?
Biden.
How do you overcome that? How
That's
do you
so
overcome
fun.
not being out there and not being on the
Shut up, Kilmeade.
campaign trail, doing interviews like
Shut
that?
up.
Well, it's a shame that it has to take place. This is, again, third world country stuff, whether it's borders or whether it's this. They've weaponized the Department of Justice. They've weaponized the FBI. They raided my house. They find nothing. Look how well I'm doing. And the people understand it. Look at what's going on. I have Fannie, or Fani as she likes to be called, in Georgia. That's a scam. We have the DA Bragg. That's a scam. Everybody says, you read the people that you have, Jonathan Turley and McCarthy and all the good people that you have on, they say this is a case that shouldn't be brought. It's not even a crime. And it all comes out of the White House.
President did secure one victory Monday. An appeals court judge lowered the bond Trump must pay in the civil fraud case against.
Yeah, we know. Thank you, Fox. But, he sounds all right. He looks how he is. Like, he looks fine. He looks like Trump still, unlike Biden. He doesn't look like he's melting just yet.
Nope. Not
but
at
you
all.
got to wonder, the polls are tightening it up already. But also Kamala Harris coming out strong. Again, I maintain that these next few months are dangerous for Joe.
Now, when you say coming out strong, I saw about a week ago applauding the song the protesters were singing that basically said, "I hate her," but she just applauded along with them until someone reminded her, "Hey, there you are actually protesting you being here, you moron," which she continued to applaud. Is that how she's coming out strong?
Yeah, no, she was just hitting a lot of issues really hard. And like stuff we would think is just bad crap, crazy.
Yeah.
But, you know, Kamala, the more I watch her, you ever seen that show, Louise Dreyfus, Veep?
I've watched clips of it, but never really seen
People have long wondered, is politics in D.C. more like House of Cards, like, you know, literally killing journalists, or is it more like Veep?
I kind of think it's more like Veep.
I think it's more like Veep with some of these folks.
I really do.
It is Bush League up there.
Yeah.
Bush League with a
Really
lot of money, and they're in all sorts of people's pocket,
Sure.
so to speak.
Tapping that pocket, baby.
So here we're going to hit a break.
Okay.
And we'll come back hopefully with Dick Brubaker over the phone. Y'all stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. In consumer news, the theft of sensitive information belonging to millions of AT&T customers has been recently discovered online. AT&T said that the dataset found on the dark web contains information including some social security numbers and passcodes for about 7.6 million current account holders and 65.4 million former account holders. Police say a man was killed, 5 other people injured during a shooting. It happened inside a Nashville, Tennessee restaurant. Police are searching for that suspect. Traffic is moving only intermittently after a stretch of California's scenic Highway 1 collapsed during an Easter weekend storm. It occurred near Rocky Creek Bridge south of Monterey. The Dow is down 286 points and the NASDAQ 24 points in the red. This is SRN News.
Biden has started tracking Christians like cattle. Yes, you heard it right. He pressured banks to tag transactions for certain keywords. One of them is Holy Bible. That's a horrifying and creepy attack on our religious freedoms. It's made possible by a digital financial system that makes you a sitting duck. But you do have other options. I recommend a physical gold IRA from Birch Gold Group. I'm Lance Wallnow, a news analyst, a best-selling author, and evangelical leader to people who cherish their financial independence. A precious metals IRA can help you avoid the scrutiny of Biden's anti-Christian bureaucracy while also preserving your retirement savings. To find out more, get your free info kit on gold IRAs by texting the word faith to 989898. Birch Gold Group is the only gold company I trust. Get their free info kit and see how a gold IRA can help you. Text faith to 989898. There are no strings attached. So text faith to the number 989898 right now and take action to protect your own prosperity.
The Johnny Adams Law Firm. They want you to stay safe on the road. Please don't text and drive. Get to your destination safely. Your family and friends will thank you. From the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to April. We've been enjoying a beautiful string of warm, dry days, but we have some weather changes on the way as a cool front approaches. Mostly cloudy today, very warm with a high in the mid-80s. Continued dry this evening and tonight, overnight low 66. Tomorrow's high up to about 86 with scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially by Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening ahead of a cold front. Some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. Then a big change, breezy, much cooler Wednesday. High temperatures only in the 60s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and probably down to 39 on Thursday night. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations since we began in 1906. At CB&S Bank, we're here for you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, these are today's top stories. A 15-year-old boy has been arrested for firing a stolen gun near 2 apartment complexes in Millbrook. The incident happened between 2 densely populated apartment complexes in the 800 block of Deatsville Highway. A 15-year-old male was arrested and charged with receiving stolen property. Kia is recalling more than 427,000 of its SUVs because they can roll away while in park. The vehicles involved are 2020 through 2024 Kia Telluride SUVs. Owners are asked to take their SUV to a Kia dealer to have updated electronic parking brake software installed. Letters will go out to owners beginning May 15th. The Alabama Crimson Tide basketball team advanced to its first ever Final Four appearance in school history Saturday night. The Tide battled back from a 13-point deficit to defeat Clemson 89-82. Alabama will face number 1 seed and defending national champion UConn Huskies Saturday, April 6th in Phoenix. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
Thompson Tractor is the go-to source for a complete range of the best equipment for your next construction project. Thompson Tractor also has the trusted parts and expert service you've come to expect for more than 65 years. All of which keeps your business up and running so you can focus on the work you do. And now is a great time to get the compact equipment you need, because right now, there's financing starting at 0% for 36 months on any Cat compact equipment, including skid steers and mini excavators. These machines don't sit around for long, but no worries. If it's not here, we can pull from one of our other 16 locations in Alabama and Northwest Florida. And hey, if you're not ready to buy, Thompson Rents is here so you can rent what you need. So visit ThompsonTractor.com for all the details and for the location nearest you. Thompson Tractor and Thompson Rents. We're here for you.
The Health and Wealth Show. The Health and Wealth Show. The show so nice, we said it twice. Weekday evenings at 6 on News Talk 93.1 WACV. The Health.
Break it up, son. Joke's over, hey?
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm Joey, that guy in that fishing shirt there who's going fishing later today.
Going fishing.
That's Eddie Vader right there. And on the phone, as promised, we have, well, he's a candidate for Congress.
Yes, he is.
Dick Brubaker on the line. Of course, he's running for the brand new District 2. How are you today, sir?
Man, I am awesome in Mobile doing a little campaigning. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, but I want to start with this. I have a problem, and it's not with you. It's just, you've maybe heard my show before. I'm in one of these moods where I'm like, constitutionally, morally, this government seems illegitimate. And when I look at what they tell me or what the corporate press tells me, I'm like, I just don't believe a word they say. I'm not claiming I have the whole truth, but I'm just in one of these moods where I'm like, how can I even trust these folks? And you are...
Trust which folks?
The government and so many of their, say, cheerleaders in the corporate media.
Oh, well, you can't.
All right.
I mean, you know, to be honest with you, if you look at the what this country needs more than what this country's dying for is truth. I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I do agree.
I mean, there's nothing we need more than truth. I mean, that's what's wrong with negative campaigning. That's what's wrong with the corporate media. That's what's wrong with our whole political dialogue. It's founded mostly on whatever lies you can get people to believe. And people have caught on to it. And that's why you have, what, 20%, 22% of Alabamians showing up to vote on Super Tuesday?
Right. Yeah, so
People are discouraged.
Well, and I guess I'm not alone then, and it seems like we got to tell the truth in order to actually get back to what the Constitution says, because I look at this government today and how it operates, and it doesn't seem like a constitutional government to me whatsoever.
Well, we need to get back to two concepts, liberty and limited government. And the federal government is way out of their lane. And there's no excuse to have a U.S. Department of Education. There's no excuse for them to be weaponizing the FBI against our own citizens. And it's just time to push back.
Well, here. And when you're traveling the district, what do you think are the top issues folks are worried about right now?
The border and inflation. Everywhere I go, no exceptions. Everywhere I've been, when we ask people that question, get everybody to jot it down on the little piece of paper we leave at their desk. Sometimes some people think inflation's more important than the border, and some people put the border first, but those are always those two issues. And inflation is all being driven by Biden's fuel policy. You can't cripple American energy and not expect food prices to go up. And on the border, I mean, let's face it, every time you pick up the paper, someone who's not supposed to be here in the first place has killed one of our citizens. And people are tired of it.
Now, there are a lot of folks leaving the Congress right now. In fact, a lot of Republicans, I'm getting a little nervous with how narrow this majority is. And you saw this last Congress, starting with the whole Matt Gaetz rebellion against Kevin McCarthy at the beginning. Are you ready to go up there, I guess, and jump into this thing?
Well, Congress is held in very low esteem by most of the voters. But I'm going to tell you, this is our country. Our kids are going to grow up in it. We can't abandon it. You can't give up on it. And I think I was approved when I was in the state legislature that I know what the proper role of government is, and I'm going to go up there and take that message to Washington and see if we can do some good for Alabama families.
Now, I just want to get your take on some news that broke today, in particular with Israel. Israel apparently bombed a top Iranian commanders in Damascus and killed the head of the Quds force, or the commander there. Do you think a wider war is coming, and what should the role of the United States be in all of this?
Well, first of all, the U.S. should quit trying to play both ends against the middle. I mean, every time Joe Biden, Israel was attacked. They did not make this happen. The terrorists in Gaza did. And our president says, we have to support Israel, but, those Hezbollah guys, they're pretty good too. I mean, we have to have a little moral clarity. And a wider war may be coming, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the United States' first action should be to commit U.S. ground forces.
Right.
You're aware that we've already sent members of of one of our elite airborne battalions to Gaza.
Right.
And that that's a slippery slope, and we need to support Israel to whatever extent we have to, but I'm sure that there are already people demanding that we send in the Marines, and I'm not sure it's time for that.
Now, with the other war ongoing that is being supported by the United States in the West is, of course, there in Ukraine. Where do you see that conflict right now, and should the Congress be sending more money over there to keep that fight going?
Well, if we can't get just to stretch out a war, let's put it this way. If we're going to be involved over there, our goal should be to let Ukraine either give them what they need to regain their territory so the war can be over, or we should just get out. Just to string this thing out and see how many people we can get killed is immoral. But I will say this, as far as USA, if our NATO allies aren't willing to step up and do their share, it's time to, if this is just going to be a U.S. war, I think it might be time to look for the exit door.
And there is a common thread here, it seems, with this administration, where they are always playing the middle, and that's like the worst possible choice in these situations.
There are only two kinds of people in the middle of the road. those fixing to turn left and those fixing to get run over. And that's what's happened to the United States. Nobody's got any respect for us anymore because Joe Biden has absolutely no moral clarity. I mean, look at him on this Israel and Gaza thing. I mean, it's almost unbelievable.
Yeah, and I think the respectable position is either back Israel or back at least one side, and I think Israel would be the smart play there. Or
well, not just the smart play, it's the right play. They're the only democracy in the region. These people in Gaza, I mean, they went over there not for a military objective, just they went over there to see how many Jews they could kill in a day. And yes, ever since Israel started fighting back, all the lefties are horrified. Oh, those terrible Israelis, they're defending themselves. Well, how many rockets did these terrorists launch into Israel without the Israelis invading? If that had been happening to the United States, we'd have invaded Gaza. You know, if Mexico had been launching rockets into Texas, we would have invaded Mexico 10 years ago.
Right.
But the Israelis have put up with it and put up with it and put up with it, and enough is enough.
Again, folks, we're talking to Dick Brubaker. He is a candidate for Congress here in the brand new District 2. You know, just coming off the Easter celebration yesterday, and I hope you had a great Easter.
I did.
And likewise, it's always great getting together with family, and I ate way too much steak, I'll put it that way. Really enjoyed that. But your reaction to this phrase you often hear in American politics these days, is the United States a Christian nation?
Yes, in the sense that the people who founded it did it on the supposition that the populace would have Christian values. And if you look at the values in the Constitution, all the talk about human worth, human equality, human dignity, those are biblical values. Now, does that mean they were all necessarily, evangelical Christians? Probably not. But I'm going to tell you this. I think in politics, nothing is more disgusting than watching somebody use Jesus as a means to an end. Christianity is an end in itself. It's a way of life. It's not a political punchline. I mean, I'm in a race with a woman who, you've seen this direct mail piece she's got out now. Nothing but lies. But at the same time, she's running around every campaign appearance she makes talking about what a big Christian she is. But it doesn't stop her from lying about me. And it's not good for the church. It's not good for politics. Christianity is a way. It's not a technique to get you elected to a political office.
And well, amen to that. And there's a lot of that. I think Eddie and I are about to have a conversation about the folks who only show up on Easter Sunday here in a second. So there can sometimes be people, it's you're getting your ticket punched, so to speak. I think Dan Moore's.
You're not being fair. They're showing up on Christmas Eve too.
I'm duly corrected. Duly corrected.
Oh. Well, on Saturday evening, Holy Saturday, took me and my wife and all our grandkids. We went to a 3-hour, the great vigil, and it was just a great evening.
Well,
great night at church.
Really is fantastic to hear. Now, you said the top issues are inflation and the border. How much do people get into, though, the Trump legal woes, or just the general conversation around Trump these days?
Nobody seems to actually believe that Trump won't be on the ballot. And there's very few people who are actually afraid that they're going to be able to. Nobody seems to be able to imagine that Trump won't win in the end. And those are the people I run into. They are absolutely confident that President Trump didn't do anything wrong, and that he'll be at the top of the Republican ticket, and that he will be the winner of the next presidential election.
Now, do you think Biden will actually be the guy for the Democrats? I keep saying that these few months before the convention, after a lot of these primary votes have been done, this is probably the most dangerous if they're ever going to make a switcheroo from Biden.
Yeah, well, at first I didn't think he would, but now I'm beginning to believe he actually will be their nominee. I mean, who else they got?
Right. Gavin? Gavin Newsom.
Well, but everybody you pick as an alternative has even more liability than Confused Joe. So I think it's going to be a rematch. I think it's going to be, Fraser Ali Part 2.
Now, all the presidents you've seen come and go in your lifetime, where would you rank Trump amongst them?
Oh, in my lifetime?
Yeah.
Behind Reagan, ahead of Bush.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, it's hard to beat Ronald Reagan. I'll put it that. And let me ask, how old were you when Reagan gets in there? Did you vote for him in 1980?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
I remember that. That was a big day at our house, and he just gave people hope. And if there's one thing, and he gave people a whole lot of truth. And if there are two things America needs right now from politicians, it's hope and truth.
Well, hey, man, I think that's a good note to end on. But before I let you go, if folks want to support your campaign leading up to this runoff date on April the 16th, how can they do so?
Oh, you can go to BrubakerForCongress.com, or you can call me on my cell phone at 334-399-5493. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you, Dick. Again, folks, Dick Brubaker. Always appreciate having him on the show. And, yeah, I needed help, and I'm probably going to have to ask Caroline Dobson similar things tomorrow. Like, I don't see how this government's legitimate based on our actual documents. Now, there are other ways to legitimacy, like, you're just so powerful, people kind of have to accept they're dependent on you.
The Don?
I think Lord, if you look at the etymology of the word Lord, it's something like the person who provides you bread.
I see.
Yeah, which makes a heck of a lot of sense, right?
Yep.
And I think government is playing Lord to a lot of people these days. And I'm not just talking about folks who are genuinely poor.
No, but they're wanting to do that with more and more people.
Right.
Take away your option so you're 100% dependent on it.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm at peace with a safety net. And I think some people get trapped in a cycle of poverty because of those programs.
Sure.
And it can be demoralizing to somebody when they get hooked on those programs. But that's not who bothers me. That's also not what's necessarily breaking the bank.
Correct.
In terms of our money.
That's what they're actually there for.
Right. But when I see, have we still ever reckoned with, say, the 2008 bailouts, Eddie?
Nope.
No, the banks are only gotten bigger. It's like, there's like essentially 4, where if you're worried about any sort of crash coming up, well, it's not going to be the regional banks.
Nope.
It's probably, I'm talking about somebody who's got hundreds of millions, if not billions. You probably want to park a lot of that money in one of the big 4.
That'd probably be the best thing you could do.
I mean, just what a time to watch in this country. And I think the interesting thing about the question of Christian identity and in this nation's identity as Christian, kind of weird, people are giving them hell about this, no pun intended, but would you have suspected that Richard Dawkins would come out and say something almost nice about Christianity and religion? You know who Richard Dawkins is, right?
He is, but
the guy who wrote The God Delusion.
I wonder, is there a catch to that, Joe?
Well, I mean, we can listen in.
Okay.
People are claiming he's been saying stuff like this for years, if you listen to him. But Dawkins is, I think, the type that can get, everybody can get nasty, but he can get particularly nasty about his arguments with, say, faithful people. But let's listen in. This is on some BBC radio show.
Well, I must say I was slightly horrified to hear that Ramadan is being promoted instead. I do think that we are culturally a Christian country. I call myself a cultural Christian. I'm not a believer, but there's a distinction between being a believing Christian and being a cultural Christian. And so, I love hymns and Christmas carols, and I sort of feel at home in the Christian ethos. I feel that we are a Christian country in that sense. It's truth that statistically the number of people who actually believe in Christianity is going down, and I'm happy with that. But I would not be happy if, for example, we lost all our cathedrals and our beautiful parish churches. So I count myself a cultural Christian. I think it wouldn't matter if we substituted any alternative religion. That would be truly dreadful.
Wait, but if there are less people believing it, and this is especially a problem in Europe and the UK, what makes you think you're going to have the juice, so to speak, the energy, the motivation to, say, keep those cathedrals and churches and hymns and traditions going when you have a very faithful, say, especially in the UK, Muslim cohort?
Right. You think they want to keep that going, Joey?
Yeah, just a little bit. So it makes you wonder, like a lot of folks are saying, this is just bizarre coming from Richard Dawkins. Now, I think it's just generally true that even if you claim to be an atheist these days, you still swim in Christian waters if you grew up in the West.
Oh, yeah.
So I think what he said is just can be a general fact. No matter your matter of personal belief, that's going to be part of you most likely, unless you take a crazy turn to something else and you actually you say convert to something else. But for the most part, that's going to be true. And a lot of folks upset with this. A lot of folks saying, well, I don't know if I completely buy this, but the interviewer kind of pushes back here a little bit.
Well, which brings me to my supplementary point, which is that, as we know, church attendance is plummeting, but the erection of mosques across Europe, I think 6,000 are under construction, and there are many more, are being planned. So do you regard that as a problem? Do you think that matters?
Yes, I do, really. I mean, I have to choose my words carefully. I mean, if I had to choose between Christianity and Islam, I choose Christianity every single time. I mean, it seems to me to be a fundamentally decent religion in a way that I think Islam is not.
I think you're going to have to explain why you say that, Professor Dawkins. Why is Islam fundamentally not decent like Christianity?
Yes, I mean, the way women are treated. I mean, Christianity is not great about that. It's had its problems with female vicars and female bishops and things. But there's an active hostility to women, which is promoted, I think, by the holy books of Islam. I'm not talking about individual Muslims, who, of course, are quite different. But the doctrines of Islam, the Hadith and the Quran, is fundamentally hostile to women, hostile to gays, and I find that I like to live in a culturally Christian country, although I do not believe a single word of the Christian faith.
I understand his point.
I understand his point, but you see the tension within him. I don't think he's alone, especially not in the UK or Europe. But there are, say, a lot of secular people who it sounded like a guy sort of struggling with, well, I believe this, but I don't really like the outcomes and where things are going with all this. We'll see.
No, I get that. Just from living in Turkey, 100% Muslim country. And of course it wasn't the U.S. But I knew I couldn't walk down the street and try to convert people. That wasn't going to happen. Wouldn't be tolerable, not in the least bit. Christian country seems to be, from my point of view, a more friendly and warming environment. We're more tolerable.
Well,
that tolerableness is where
the Enlightenment and the liberty that comes out of the Enlightenment is very much nested in Christianity.
Yes.
After the Reformation in particular. So it's, I think people like Dawkins are in a really tough spot because he has been crapping on Christianity for a lot of his career.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one thing for a man individually to say, I don't believe it. But he's done more than that.
A lot more, but right.
A lot more than that. So we'll see where all this goes, but there's this underpinning. I think our politics is fundamentally heading into a spiritual domain that is, I think a lot of folks, even those who are believers, aren't quite equipped for right
remember
now.
Christopher Hitchens.
Yeah.
Atheist forever and a day.
Sure.
And his life changed.
What do you mean?
When he got diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
To me, from that person changed. It wasn't the same hard-nosed, to me, atheist that I'd always known.
He stayed an atheist.
Right.
You should. His book, it's a little collection of essays he wrote from his hospital bed. It's called Mortality. I would encourage everybody to read it because it's a man who's sticking by his priors, but he's trying to wrestle with this very concept of his body he's dying.
Yeah, his body's betraying him.
It's kind of rough to read, though there are points in it that are very, very funny where he talks about how medical procedures, if they weren't voluntary, are tantamount to torture. And how the nurse would be like, well, this will just be a little prick. He goes, there's a joke there somewhere.
No doubt.
But yeah, like radiation, chemo, these sorts of things. Like, yeah, if you did that to somebody and there's no point, they don't want you to do that.
Right.
It's torturous. But I see what you mean, Eddie. When people go through a massive trial, usually death has something to do with it.
No doubt. But just like me, I mean, in my 30s, 20s, and 30s, I was bulletproof. Religion was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
But as I'm getting older and I'm kind of gripping with my own mortality, I pay a lot more attention to it.
Right. And then you had folks talking to you over the weekend complaining about these, like, folks that only show up on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day and Easter.
I don't understand this. I'm not a deeply religious person. Forgive me for that.
Yeah.
But there's people that go to church twice a year, Christmas, 3 times if they have a death, Christmas, funeral, and Easter. But I hear so many people complain, and I guess it's kind of an inside joke. Haha, they only come, 3 times a year. What's wrong with that? Would you rather them not come at all?
Well, apparently.
I mean, am I missing? Again, not deeply religious, don't know the dealio. Am I not supposed to come to 3 times a year?
No, I think it's sort of like you're getting your ticket punched. You're not really taking this all that seriously.
I guess that's how some people see it, but the few times that I brought my son to church when he was young, it was to introduce him into that. It wasn't for me at all, but I wanted to introduce him to that, to make that world open to him.
Right. Well, but apparently my aunt and uncle told me the priest in Auburn, like for his homily, like in the middle of a Catholic mass, the priest, after the Gospels are read, after the liturgy of the word, the priest essentially gives a homily. And they said it turned into almost like a comedic, sardonic roast of like, so I see a lot of y'all are here who are always here. Like, and he just started giving these folks, in a funny way.
I get it.
But he started giving these folks hell because, no, I think there's something to take it seriously. Like, don't treat it as sort of
okay, let me ask you
like a thing that I'm going to kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Sort of, it's like Pascal's wager. I don't like Pascal's wager. It's like, well, if God isn't real, if you don't believe, there's no reward. But if God is real, you have every incentive to believe. And I'm like, treating your belief like an incentive package and to get good with the big guy after you die seems like a very cheap way of faith.
Or it could be somebody that's struggling with their faith.
Yeah.
And these are the few times a year where they feel compelled to go. And maybe that one time is going to lead to a second, third, fourth time.
It might be.
I don't
see what
get that.
See, but it's not those times, though. I think if you're struggling with your faith, go some random day when nobody else is there. Go talk to the pastor.
If God tells me, if for whatever reason, we're in this moment, and I feel like God has told me this is where I need to be on this day, you're making fun of me? Well, you know what? What's that do to anybody? They just say, you know what? They don't want me.
But sometimes you deserve to be made fun of.
Not when you're struggling like that. That's when open hearts need to take you in. And
I see where you're coming from, but
and the whole thing with organized religion. Again, I'm not a religious person, but I was brought up in the church. But I saw so many things that turned me away.
Sure. Yeah.
Like people coming in that were like a mechanic friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Hands were dirty, filthy. But he was there for one of his first times. Everybody in that church rejected that man because he was dirty.
Yeah. Well, it's because, some people, I think, get it, and congregations get it wrong in the sense that it is about more my social club.
Shame on them.
Yeah.
Right.
But also, I see where, say, that priest who was roasting folks was coming from. It's like, it's great you're here. I'd like to see you again next Sunday.
I get that. But let me ask you this. What's going down in the U.S.? Belief in God. People going to church.
Sure.
Why in the world are you going to do anything except welcome them back?
Because there is a process of actual repentance.
Sure.
Like you actually have to have a change of heart.
You got to get them in the door.
Yeah.
I'm going to sell you a car, brother. I got to get you in the door first.
That's true.
And I got to feel like I want this. You guys want me. I don't want to feel
Maybe they should start giving away cars on Easter Sunday.
No, the eggs are enough.
Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
This is Brian.
Hey, Brian. How you doing?
Hey, so the reason people aren't really making fun of, at least I'm a member of the Church of Christ, and they don't really make fun of, at least around here, the fact that you might come twice a year. Now, the place that we get this from is in the Bible. We are commanded to meet every first day of the week. Wednesdays are not, like, we do Wednesday night Bible study, but that's not a commandment, so we just do that because we would like to learn more about the Bible.
Right.
But we were commanded every first day of the week to gather together and to sing songs of praise, to pray, to
give a contribution to take of the Lord's Supper, and that's where that comes from. It's not really frustrating to me when people only come for Easter and Christmas, because that's an opportunity for us to have Bible studies with them. So I would never judge partially on them.
Yeah.
But we are commanded, and especially like people who only come on Easter and Christmas, they may not even be baptized. So they may not be actually blood Christians because they weren't baptized. They didn't actually. They're just kind of coming along with their parents, and then eventually they just grew up, and then they just kind of come on Sunday and Christmas or Easter. So there's just it's kind of a learning curve that we have to be patient with everybody instead of judging them, try to help them out.
Well, I think, amen.
Yeah.
I think that's the right approach.
100%.
But it's also like, it goes both ways. Like, are you just here, or are you actually taking this seriously? I'd imagine, have you ever had in Bible study or in your church, Brian, moments where you're like, this person really is going through the motions and not, I know for a fact they're not taking this seriously.
Sure.
I haven't seen it personally, but I know people, I know of people, I know people who know people. So it does happen, but I'd say more often than not, if it's a person who's not related to anybody in that congregation and they're there, it's because they want to be. Now, if you're just there because your family goes there, then you could just be doing the motions. It's people who were raised in the church who actually seem to go through the motions more than someone who was brought in later who believed on their own.
Okay.
Because of their own faith and not their parents.
Well, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, y'all have a good one.
You too. Another thing that just crossed my mind, how many women, and I know this for a fact, when they got married, their husband, for whatever reason, could be factory job, could whatever, but they didn't have the habit of going to church, but their wife always did.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually...
I know a lot of guys like that.
Right. Eventually, that wife got that husband to come to church. Maybe one time here, one time there. But so many of them eventually found God.
Yeah.
So what is wrong? I just, what am I missing here? What is wrong if someone's trying?
Mm-hmm.
You try.
Well, that's the big if somebody's trying. Like, I imagine, for instance, there are especially Catholic priests who only see somebody on Easter, and they only see them on Easter for 5-10 years. Then the priest is probably gonna be like, "You ain't even trying."
But do you give up on them?
No, you don't give up.
Okay, then what's
and
the
also,
deal? Then why don't
and
you
also,
welcome
you
them
can
and say, "Hey, I'll
love.
see you again in
but
5 years."
also, isn't tough love a thing?
Yeah, I guess, but I didn't think of that in that world. But maybe, I don't know. Again,
You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you got to tell a person what's
don't
what.
come back here till you're serious.
Yeah, and sometimes that can get a person's attention more than you know.
Who are you gonna tell me not to come? I'll be back here with you.
Right? No, it takes all types, and there's different approaches to people. Like, yeah,
Right.
some folks need to be challenged,
right,
in order to actually get their attention for them to take a
No,
thing
I
serious.
get that.
So it's
don't tell me. I'll be back here Wednesday, dude. What are you gonna do about that?
Don't threaten me with a good time. This is part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting, and there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and his team are ready to help you out with that roof of yours. Of course, whether it's an asphalt or metal roof, you should have it inspected every few years. And in fact, Eddie and I would both recommend just get it done every year.
Oh yeah, why not?
Why not? I mean, I think that is the right approach at the end of the day with all the weather swings we have, and especially if you're sitting under a bunch of trees.
Oh yeah, man.
Yes.
Especially pine trees, all the sap and everything you're gonna get.
Right.
Yeah.
And you want to find an issue early before it festers for too long.
Exactly.
Because then that insurance company you've been paying those premiums to is going to be like, yeah, you were negligent. We're not covering this. That's why you need to get River Region Contracting out there. They're called the premier roofing contractor in this area for good reason, because their inspections and estimates are always free.
100%.
And they're a team of insurance specialists. So if they do find a problem with your roof, your insurance company might pay for, they can walk you through that claims process and make it an easy, even pleasurable experience, which is not something you usually
so strange, Joey.
associate with insurance claims. But they're just that good there at River Region Contracting. So that number, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that, well, you heard about them here on News and Views in the afternoon. We'll be back with John and others at 272-9228.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
If you're new to Medicare, the ins and outs can be complicated.
At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Alabama, our local advisors are here to help answer your questions, and we're here to help you find a Medicare plan that fits your needs. Visit bcbsalmedicare.com or call 1-844-627-5612. Now, Medicare, that's focused on you. Blue Advantage is a PPO with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in Blue Advantage PPO depends on contract renewal.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values.
David, Little Tucker Pecan, things are changing at Tucker. They're moving to a new location. Here's, well, I don't think David's here. I think Foster's here.
Yes, it's Foster Grump. I am here. David is out moving stuff for the new location, which is located at 135 Mulberry Street, which is absolutely wonderful. So we are going to be moving over there. And, David has been working really hard trying to get everything moved. And they will be moved over and have all their candies and all their things they sell over at Tucker Pecan. They're going to have them over there on Mulberry Street. They might even surprise you. They're talking about having maybe some casseroles and some chicken salad and pimento and cheese, all kinds of things. They're working on all kinds of wonderful new things. That'd make Jenny jump up, scream, and holler. So that's what we're doing at Tucker Pecan. And you know what? They're going to be moving for long. So, you call the same number, 262-4470, and you can get them at Tucker Pecan, or you can email them at sales@tuckerpecan.com.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather brought to you by Clark Heating, Air, and Plumbing. It's time to get your cooling system ready for the long, hot summer. Call today about the advantages of the Clark Club membership to be sure you're covered. Call 277-2125. Better call Clark. Alabama certification number 09098.
Rich Thomas Weather.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to April. We've been enjoying a beautiful string of warm, dry days, but we have some weather changes on the way as a cool front approaches. Mostly cloudy today, very warm with a high in the mid-80s. Continued dry this evening and tonight, overnight low 66. Tomorrow's high up to about 86 with scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially by Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening ahead of a cold front. Some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. Then a big change, breezy, much cooler Wednesday. High temperatures only in the 60s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and probably down to 39 on Thursday night. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. Check out our special spring savings on Kubota zero-turn mowers, like the Kubota Z411. At 10 miles an hour, it makes cutting around bushes, beds, and trees a breeze. Powering Alabama. Capital Tractor, Montgomery, Brundage, and Greenville.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I don't know where Patriot Czar is getting his info, but let's see here, Eddie. He just put out this comment not that long ago about, let's say, 15 shopping minutes ago.
Okay.
Patriot Czar puts a big siren and says, breaking news, at the Joey Clark marries fat princess on Easter Monday.
Huh?
I haven't married any fatties. I'll kiss a fatty, though.
I didn't even know you were engaged.
Yeah, I didn't either. But apparently, I don't know where Patriot Czar is getting his info, but I appreciate all the love and the help, sir. I really do appreciate it.
Is that going to help you there?
I think so. Maybe I just need to like that Fat Bottom Girl song. It's a big influence.
I don't know if it's still there, but there used to be this bar in Atlanta.
Yeah.
All they had was known for big women.
Big women.
I forget the name. It was like Big Beautiful Women or something, but it was a packed
big
bar.
Is beautiful.
Of course.
Yeah, not all the time.
I disagree. How do you like your steaks?
All the time?
Yeah. I think
sometimes I like a filet, Eddie. I've had enough ribeye. Thank you very much.
Forgot who I was talking to.
Yeah, sometimes you got to trim the fat. Let's go to John. Hey, John, how you doing?
Hey, guys, how y'all doing?
Pretty good. Dude, pretty good.
Anyway,
I just want to talk about what you were talking about as far as Eddie saying he's not a very religious guy.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I'm in Meridian now. I'm from Eclectic, Montgomery area. I'm a retired state trooper there, and I want to come back. And there's only one man I'm going to do real estate business with, and I'm wanting to do a considerable amount with when I get back there. But when he said he's not a very religious person, the only thing I want to think about is when his children grow up, can he imagine them spending eternity in hell? Can he imagine spending himself eternity in hell? And what Paul said in the Bible was, you know, I'm foolish if Christianity's not real. You know, we're just being foolish, but we know that Christ was real. And so I can't imagine, I have 8 grandkids. I can't imagine one of them spending eternity in hell. So it's my responsibility to introduce them to Christ. And, I mean, Joey and Eddie, I do pray for y'all daily. I mean, I think y'all are tough, but it's Jesus Christ, your Savior. And being a Christian is not easy. It's not getting, oh, Jesus, forgive me of my sins, get baptized, I get to go live my life. Christianity is difficult. You don't work your way into heaven, but when you're saved, you do work for the Lord. And you two guys are awesome. I mean, you're my grass to Montgomery, Alabama, to Eclectic, Alabama, and I listen to you daily, every day, because you're my home. But I do pray for you. I pray that you realize that Jesus is the only way, whether you want to consider yourself religious or not. I don't care about that, but is Christ your Savior? And if he's your Savior, do you tell your kids, grandkids, and other people you know about the only way to go to heaven? And with that, you know, I'm not going to do a whole lot of preaching.
Sure.
But I'm so glad to hear y'all talking about what you're talking about. And Eddie and Joey, I pray that God just touches your heart and realize Jesus is the way, the only way to heaven, and that y'all get a hold of that. You know, I don't even like the term religious. I just want you to have an experience with Jesus Christ as your Savior, and then, you know, even when you have trouble, you'll still have joy. And Jesus promised that, God promised that. But anyway, that's all I want to say to you guys. Y'all are the best. Eddie, remember John, state trooper. When I call you about some commercial properties, you'll know who it's all about.
Look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for the call,
All right,
John.
man.
Thank you, too. I really do.
Thanks.
272-9228. You know, when we get calls like that, it makes me want to behave a little more. Behave.
Oh.
Pave?
That's why I said pave.
You see me working with asphalt anytime soon? Look at these hands.
No. I don't want you to chip a nail.
I think I have more calluses than you, actually.
Yeah?
Yeah, right here.
Your right hand, not your left?
Both of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Ambidextrous, are you?
Yeah, well, with certain things. Yeah. You got to be two-handed.
Yeah, that's very true.
Especially when you're pumping that iron, bro.
Oh, I didn't think about you in the bars, yeah.
But Patriot Czar followed up and said, April Fools. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I didn't marry any big fat fatty just
I was
yet.
hoping I was
I'm
going to
not
meet your new
against-
wife in the
I'm not
parking lot.
against
Thought she
it.
might bring us some cookies or something.
Yeah. There's such a thing as fat nappy, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also blood pressure issues.
Yeah, there's that too. But you can manage somewhere in the middle.
Now, I hadn't heard from this fellow in a while. Mr. Tabor. How's it shaking, man? Met him a few years back. Great guy. Matt Tabor. Really great guy. I believe he is still working. Co-host of the Create Unknown. It's a great little podcast there where they're really talking to a lot of folks that have been YouTubers since the beginning.
Yeah.
And they do great work. I know he also does other work behind the scenes, but great to hear from you, Matt. And he asked, am I one of those people that always look 40 to you, Joey? Am I? And I'm like, yeah. Yes, it's true. It's true. It's true. 272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, well, they can help you out if you're looking to buy a home or refinance a place. And I want to focus on today, especially if you're a veteran, whether you're looking to buy or refinance, Alabama Home Mortgage, and that's Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon. They're ready to help you with, well, by actually getting to know you. It's not like dealing with some big national internet company or 1-800 number.
Yeah.
Or some huge big bank. No, you're actually a person to them.
Exactly right.
And because they know the latest with the VA home loan programs, that means they can get you the best possible deal. Veterans, you earned these benefits through your service. And what do we mean by best possible deal, Eddie? It's like 100% financing when you're buying, right?
Correct.
And when you're refinancing, up to 100%.
That's exactly right.
So that means you don't have to have a big chunk of change to put down.
Correct.
And you can get a home that you, of course, they're going to set you up in a home that you can afford.
Well, your service was your down payment. How about looking
There
at it
you
that
go.
way?
There you go. And the sad thing is there are a lot of veterans who don't know about this stuff. They weren't told by another mortgage broker or bank or whatever.
Yeah.
Now, with Alabama Home Mortgage, they can set you up. So call them today, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies like Kim and Madeline. Prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender. And I hadn't thought of. It's good seeing Mr. Tabor interacting with the show. Good guy right there.
Good deal.
Let's quickly go to Biloxi Gambler. Hello, sir.
Hey, you're not a Christian because you're worried about, what happens after you die. You're a Christian because it's just the right way to live. You feel better. You don't have the weight on your heart. I mean, that's what I tell people. Don't worry. We're probably all going to be cast into the lake of fire. I think that book of life's going to be a lot thinner than we want it to be when we look around at all the other people that are in judgment. The Bible says when you're worried about people going to hell, they say, how can a loving God torture you for eternity? Well, the Bible doesn't say he does. The Bible says you'll be judged. And if your name's not in the book of life, you will be cast into the lake of fire. It does say that. And the next sentence is, this is the second death. Because you're not going to survive a lake of fire. You're just going to be cast.
Right. And, I mean, I've always understood it from my Catholic schooling as hell essentially complete separation of God, and often you've chosen that.
Right. Yeah, you have to work your way to get it. I'm hoping we all get a mulligan is what I'm hoping.
Right.
and just, okay, nobody made it. All right, we're gonna do this again.
You remember that one night in Baton Rouge there? Okay.
Repentance, on the repentance, a lot of people, they think, okay, well, I'm sorry about it. I'll just say I'm sorry, say some magic words,
right,
and some prayers, and everything's cool. That's not repentance. Not only can you not do it again, let's say I tell a lie about Eddie. Okay, so I tell a lie about Eddie. Now, maybe it hurts, with him, with his employers, his employees, his children, his wife, whatever. Okay, and I want to repent from the sin of the lie that I told on Eddie. Yes, I have to go to Jesus. That is true. But I also have to go to Eddie. And I have to tell Eddie what I did. And Eddie will probably say, well, then go back to the same people you told the lie to and correct the lie. And then it will filter back to whoever those other people are that were affected by that lie.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're holding $100, I'll take that off of you too, and we're all good.
Are you Catholic? It sounds like.
Well, no, I don't really talk about Catholic. You know what? I dated Catholics. I've dated Jews. I've dated. The best one to date, Joey, if you're looking for a wife, I would suggest Buddhist.
Yeah.
Buddhists are the best. Now, you can't put out mice traps or spray for roaches.
Right.
They don't. But Buddhists are the easiest to get along with. But I loved, in the Catholic circle I was in, I went to all the weddings. Oh, I'm an honorary Jew, by the way. I was at the Standard Club so much they made me an honorary Jew. And I said, well, that's okay. I'm already circumcised, so I'm okay with it. And, well, because, you know, they had to circumcise, you know, when you're a baby. That way I can't stab them back. But the Catholics, and I've had conversations with priests about this. I love priests,
right?
Especially at weddings. We're at the bar, you know, whatever. You know, I tell my Baptist friends, because I grew up Baptist, that I say, you know, I said, the thing about Catholic, I said, you need a designated driver to go to midnight mass. But anyway, so and we talk about purgatory, and I'm going, look, I got the King James Version of the Bible. I'm going all through it. And there's no purgatory. Can't find purgatory. Finally had a priest say, that's really just a teaching tool. So, you know, people weren't even allowed to read the Bible. That's why it was in other languages.
Well, and I think the Roman Catholic Church says it's the scriptures, but it's also the traditions as carried on.
That's something man made up. That's not what God said. You can't add to the Bible or take away from the Bible. It tells you not to do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying that Christianity and its whole package, like once you get past, like, do you accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior, that sort of Malarian hope that he'll return again, there's all the rest of life to live. And so there was, if you look at early Christian history, there's a lot of borrowing from the Stoics and all sorts of different ideas about practical living. And so a lot of that is very wise, I'd say.
Yeah, like Christmas, you know, Jesus wasn't born in the wintertime in the Northern Hemisphere, but okay. but it was a pagan holiday where they worshiped the trees, and they said, okay, we're going to make that Christmas. Okay, yeah. But anyway, but the point is, you're not a Christian trying to buy insurance for what happens after you die. I don't care what happens after I die. I can't do anything about that. But I read the Bible, and I do my best every day. And anyway, you don't lie, you don't cheat, you don't kill anybody. Those are good rules to live by, whether you call it Christianity or not.
Well, I appreciate the call, man.
All right, bye.
See you, buddy.
272-9228. Keep coming back to this topic, but I think it is. Like we started the segment, what, Richard Dawkins talking about he's a cultural Christian? Yeah, man. There's something going on.
A lot of that in the United States, cultural Christians, no doubt.
Right. Yeah, you want to hit this break?
Sure. Kind of curious about up top there.
Yeah, driver arrested for crashing car into FBI office, and it looked like he tried to ram the gate. Of course, they put up the barricade that comes out of the ground.
Hey, Joey, those stop measures, they worked on that one.
Yeah, it did. Daggone.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, that's just a huge reinforced steel plate that rose up out of the ground.
Driving
you ain't driving through that. Man.
Yeah.
We'll hit this break. Hopefully be back with Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. At PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
The Tierce family has been your local Roto-Rooter service since 1964. Drain cleaning, plumbing repair, and those troublesome septic tanks, no problem. Technology has changed a bit in the last 54 years. Video inspections of lines to locate problems is available, as well as scheduling your appointment online. River Region residents have trusted Roto-Rooter for over half a century. You can too. Call today at 272-7130 or visit online at rotorooteralabama.com.
Call Roto-Rooter, that's the name, and we go troubles down the drain. Roto-Rooter.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368, an equal housing lender.
News and talk without the static. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. The news and views in the afternoon. I'm Joey, he's Eddie.
Hey, Joey.
What sort of voice was that?
It's me just saying hello to my friend Joey.
Hey, how you doing?
Joey, how
How you doing?
My friend Joey.
It's just like, is that Highland Gardens coming out?
Oh, no, that's no.
How are they talking Highland Gardens when you were growing up?
A lot shorter and a lot more redneck than that. I don't even know how we said hello. We didn't generally say hello. Yeah.
Yeah.
Meh. What's up?
Yeah. Let's go to Michael Cohen of Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Gosh, Michael, you really are classing up the joint here. Talking to this guy from Chisholm area. My goodness.
Well, thank you.
Oh, well, how's it going today? There it goes.
Going very well. Swimmingly.
Going that well. That's great to hear. Let's tell folks about some of the grilling options you have here. It's this is the time to cook, to barbecue.
That's right.
Getting that time. So, what sort of options do you have for folks?
Well, for the people that like the pellet grills, we have the Traeger model. You can cook with the pellets, and the cool thing is that a lot of them have the ability that you can Bluetooth to the meat probe, and depending on what you're trying to do, it will either feed more pellets or less pellets to get the temperature up or to bring the temperature down.
Mm-hmm.
They're also super easy to clean up because of all the little accessories they have as far as catching the grease and everything. The other cool thing about the Traeger is that it kind of cooks like a convection oven. It circulates the heat, so it cooks very well, and it cooks very evenly. Then you also have the Napoleon, which they make only gas grills. And with their units, a lot of them also have that searing station on the side. Gets up to about 1,800 degrees, doesn't take it any time at all. So you can cook your steak like Ruth's Chris cooks their steaks. Yes. And some people do the searing when they start, and then some people cook steak, and then they sear it at the end. But they also have other accessories that you can cook a pizza. You can put a griddle in there, so you can cook breakfast like the Waffle House does, or you can be Benihana and cook your Asian food. And then we have Kamado Joe, which is charcoal grill. But they've kind of upped their game a little bit, and they've got some electronics built into it that can kind of breathe more air into there, and the more air, the hotter it gets. So it does a great job as well.
Well, and I'm looking at all these as Michael's talking about them at thinkcohens.com, folks, and these do look amazing. All the options look amazing. Again, that's thinkcohens.com, or I really encourage you to stop by there, see the showroom, see the products they have. It's 2515 Eastern Boulevard here in Montgomery. They're open 9 to 6, Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 on Saturdays. And be sure to find Michael, one of the team members, and tell him, hey, we heard Michael on the radio with those idiots, Joey and Eddie.
The redneck.
Oh, well.
So come on by and see all these different grills. We've got something for everybody. They even make some little baby ones if you got a kid that's going to college, or you just need something small for your cabin or your farm or something.
Well, appreciate it as always, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank y'all. Take care.
No, you too. A good idea. We could do a whole parking lot thing there where we're cooking ribs. Well, you're cooking ribs, and I'm sitting in the massage chair waiting for you to bring the ribs. What do you think of that? Just
no, cooking ribs, we can both sit in a massage chair. Different ones. We're not sharing one with you.
Well, that makes me feel a little better.
Yeah, but ribs, you don't, once you set them on a smoker.
We just
Yeah,
Chill.
we'll just sit there with our Traeger app being like, it's almost done.
That's what's so crazy. You can sit inside, just watch the app.
Yeah.
It's cheating, but it's kind of good cheating. I got to be honest.
We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusada, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott in Charleston, South Carolina. Convicted murderer Alex Murdoch, already serving a life sentence for killing his wife and son, has been sentenced to an additional 40 years in federal prison for stealing from clients and his law firm. A Virginia firefighter collapsed and died while battling a wildfire. James C. Ward collapsed Saturday while working with a crew on that fire in southwestern Scott County. An Israeli airstrike has destroyed the consular section of Iran's embassy in Damascus. The Iranian Arabic language state television says the strike killed Iranian military advisor General Ali Reza Zadi. Zadi previously led elite Iranian forces. On Wall Street, the Dow is off 273 points and the Nasdaq is down 9. This is SRN News.
Honey, it's our favorite leaf filter trusted pro, Matt. Matt, come in.
Hi, Mrs. Sparks. You wanted me to stop by? Is everything okay with your leaf filter gutter protection system?
Okay, of course, silly. We wanted you to stop by for dinner as our way of thanking you.
Yes, to thank you for that free gutter inspection, the free estimate, and what was the other thing?
That lifetime guarantee.
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Sparks, those are just Leaf Filter's policies. Everyone who calls Leaf Filter gets a trusted pro to come out for a free gutter inspection and estimate. And every Leaf Filter installation comes with a lifetime guarantee.
So it's not just us?
No, sir. We don't want anyone to worry about clogged gutters ever again.
You mean everyone gets this level of service?
Everyone. They just need to visit leaffilter.com/gold to schedule their free inspection.
Okay, but you must be starving. You work so hard.
Ready to love your gutter protection as much as we do? Visit leaffilter.com/gold and get up to 30% off today.
See representative for warranty details. Promotion is 20% off plus a 10% senior or military discount. One discount per household.
The Rich Thomas Weather Network is brought to you by the Johnny Adams Law Firm. They want you to stay safe on the road. Please don't text and drive. Get to your destination safely. Your family and friends will thank you. From the Johnny Adams Law Firm.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to April. We've been enjoying a beautiful string of warm, dry days, but we have some weather changes on the way as a cool front approaches. Mostly cloudy today, very warm with a high in the mid-80s. Continued dry this evening and tonight. Overnight low 66. Tomorrow's high up to about 86 with scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially by Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening ahead of a cold front. Some of the storms could be strong, possibly severe. Then a big change, breezy, much cooler Wednesday. High temperatures only in the 60s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and probably down to 39 on Thursday night. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
1819 News.
Alabama's congressional delegates are expressing outrage at Joe Biden for his proclamation of Transgender Day of Visibility on Easter Sunday. The Biden White House also prohibited any religious themes or symbols at its Easter egg event that was held this past weekend. U.S. Senator Tommy Tuberville came out swinging by calling the Democratic Party a satanic cult. Congressman Dale Strong took to social media saying that the day reserved for celebrating the resurrection of our Lord and Savior can never be replaced by woke liberals. He also called on Biden to apologize for insulting God-fearing Americans. Congressman Barry Moore called it a direct and intentional assault on Christianity, and Alabama Lieutenant Governor Will Ainsworth expressed his opinion on the matter by saying that Joe's woke agenda finds every opportunity to mock Christian beliefs, morals, and values, and he called on a restoration of sanity to the White House. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
Are you enjoying 1819 News? If so, consider joining 1819 News as a member. As a nonprofit news organization, we depend on the support of Alabamians like you. Memberships start out as little as $5 a month, and you'll get access to exclusive content only offered to our members. You'll be supporting independent journalism done by people who cherish Alabama values. Become a member today by visiting 1819news.com and clicking Become a Member. That's 1819news.com and click Become a Member today.
Kia Auto Company has issued a recall of 427,000 of its Telluride SUVs. The vehicle has a problem with its drive shaft that could cause it to move while placed in the park gear. Updates need to be made to the parking brake software. The recall involves its 2020 to 2023 models and some of its select 2024 models. No injuries or crashes have been reported. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers.
It's time for Montgomery's Conversational Radio Show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is how you conduct yourself in a democracy?
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. The news and views in the afternoon, or as we're calling it online, Joey Clark Live. You can watch on YouTube at The Joey Clark Live. Be sure to like and subscribe. And we have, we're almost up to 9,000 subscribers there.
Holy cow.
Yeah. On YouTube. And then I love all the love we've been getting on the X platform.
Yeah.
Big hat tip to Patriot Czar and everybody out there that watching on the X platform. That's at The Joey Clark on Twitter X if you want to follow us. Now, do you want to go to school? You know, we talked all this Christian stuff.
Yeah.
Shouldn't we check in with our more progressive betters? And not saying, you know, some progressives are Christians, I think, and they mean it honestly. But,
okay.
I mean, sometimes you get into, like, in a second, I'm going to play Yuval Harari.
Never heard of her.
That's a guy.
Kind of figured that.
And, yeah, Yuval doesn't strike me as a guy who's Christian or really all that Judaic. He seems to be more like a futurist, like transhumanist.
Oh, boy. Oh, boy.
Right, we'll get to him in a second. But we have another woman. Here, I'll pull her up on the screen so you can see
Can't
her.
tell nowadays. I don't want to misjudge.
Yeah, well, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm colonizing her. I'm using colonial violence.
Joey, old school.
Against this woman.
Old school.
But, so you know what TED is, right?
Oh, yeah. TED Talks, man.
And
also a great
TED
movie, by the way. One and two, pretty good.
Yeah.
One was better.
Apparently it's a TED TV series now?
Yeah, I can't bring myself to watch it.
It's still funny when I see
Yeah.
the clips. I'm like, that little bear, as foul-mouthed as he is with that Boston accent. I'm like, it's pretty damn funny.
You didn't run into him while you're up there, by the way?
Look, Seth MacFarlane is such a lib. I saw some of his tweets. I just ignore them.
Oh, I have to.
It's like, go away, man. Go away. But TED, there are some great talks that I would still recommend to people. Especially the ones on music are usually remarkable.
There's some great TED Talks out there.
Now, there's some German scientist who was really given, say, the folks worried about climate change hell for essentially trying to cut off poor people in developing parts of the world.
Yeah.
Like, hey. Like, and he was essentially calling for humility in science, that, like, we're not as certain as we think we are. And a lot of these statistics, the things you think are true, that's conventional wisdom,
right?
Even amongst a pretty smart, high IQ crowd, it just ain't so.
Right.
Everybody's prone to beliefs that just ain't so. So I'm not knocking all of TED, but especially when Ted goes into political territory. And they present it as though this is just the latest in academia.
That's right.
Like these activist institutions in academia that were, spun up in the 60s and 70s. And it's like, I think these are very soft. Like soft. Like you could dimple the somebody's forehead soft. Like it's not, say, people are getting a PhD in physics or math. And I say that as a guy who got a BS in poli-sci. Like, yeah, compared to some of the whiz kids there, soft. That said, some of these activists have now just turned their activism they've transformed it into science, where they put the veneer of science on top of what has always just been activism. Now, I think we're getting a little sample of this, but we should have an open mind.
Okay.
And we should listen and learn.
Oh, joy.
So let's take it away.
All right.
This went very viral at the end of last week. Elon Musk commenting on it. This is from that Ian Miles Cheong. Let's listen in.
Right.
And wait, let's take it seriously. We're going to learn together, Eddie.
Trying.
Because I think that focusing still on the people who are uncomfortable about this is still recreating colonial violence. It's still recreating cis supremacy. It's still recreating able supremacy.
Like committing colonial violence.
I don't remember what some of these words are.
That's a pretty husky voice.
What's it? Cis something?
Let's back up. I'm already a little confused.
Because I think that focusing still on the people who are uncomfortable about this is still recreating colonial violence. It's still recreating cis supremacy.
I think she called me a sissy.
No,
Is that what she did?
No, it's in the words of Norm Macdonald. When you say somebody's cisgender and you're like, what the heck is that? CIS?
Yeah.
That's just a way to marginalize a normal
That's
person.
why I thought it's normal, right? Equals normal.
Yeah, it's just a way to marginalize a normal person. But she said, okay, it's a way to commit.
I think that focusing still on the people who are uncomfortable about this is still recreating colonial violence.
Colonial violence.
It's still recreating cis supremacy.
Cis supremacy. And
still recreating able supremacy.
Able supremacy. So we have colonial violence, cis supremacy, able supremacy.
What is able supremacy? What is this? Something y'all invented this weekend while I was working?
Well, obviously, I mean, anybody who able people are better than disabled people. Seriously?
Oh, good.
Is that what you think? Able-bodied, if you want to use that term? Able-minded? It's just.
Can you boo the Ted people when you're there?
You could, I guess. But actually, some people were run out of like Coleman Hughes tried to do his talk about a colorblind society. Yeah, he got run out on a rail. Now, they're polite in the moment, but yeah, there's all these complaints. How dare he brings in his colonial violence?
Normalcy?
So wait, we have colonial violence, cis supremacy, able supremacy.
Okay.
It's still recreating white supremacy.
White supremacy. And these are all like part of the bird cage that are like keeping you in your white patriarchal capitalist superstructure.
But what about those of us who feel like we're not white supremacists, have never had white supremacist thoughts?
Well, your denial of it and you being uncomfortable about it is just recreating colonial violence. But she goes on.
So, instead...
In fact, there are people clapping at that.
I'm going to do what I usually do when I talk to my classes, is I try to weaponize everybody in there. I try to talk to them about what is colonialism, how do we interact with it, how do we engage with it, and how do we combat it within ourselves, within our families, within our communities, and how do we take that further? What is colonial violence? And it's something that is like really easy to like frame in the past. It's something that's really easy to frame as something that we don't participate in, but really, colonial violence is sitting in these seats right now and being comfortable.
Well, that sounds a little like your prejudice against fat people, fatty.
You know, suddenly those North Korean re-education camps don't sound like the worst idea in the world.
Colonial violence is the control of the elements that we have and being warm in this room.
That's colonial violence.
Being comfortable?
Energy. Harvesting energy is colonial violence, Eddie. But that one
she
line...
practices that too. I imagine she keeps her AC on.
No, she's part of the... But she's aware of the problem, and she's pointed it out. That's why we have to weaponize everybody. This is a teacher, folks. This is a teacher. Let's hear this again.
Usually do when I talk to my classes is I try to weaponize everybody in there.
I try to weaponize everyone in there.
Sick.
Could it be Satan?
Could it be?
I try to talk to them about what is colonialism, how do we interact with it, how do we engage with it, and how do we combat it within ourselves, within our families, within our communities, and how do we take that further?
Oh, shut up. That's all my response is. Just shut up. Like, I don't take you seriously.
No.
Well, and it's just like added to the list of things human beings have come up with that we're going to save ourselves from this corrupt system. And don't get me wrong, I can complain about the corruption in our system all the live long day. But there's so many folks who come along and say, well, you see the corruption in the system? Here's my way of solving that problem. And it's almost always this front. The claim that I'm going to save humanity from its corruption and fallenness is almost always a front to control humanity, to drive us apart, to rule over us. And I don't care what you're using, people use it all the time. You can use the latest in progressive queer theory or wherever the hell she is, critical studies. Or you can use the good book, you can use the Bible, you can use science, you can use all sorts of stuff to make an excuse that just gives you the power to rule over people. Because everybody believes that. If you just put me in charge, Eddie, we would do great things. But do you ever hear me say that?
They usually laugh behind it because we know what's going to happen if you become in charge. Yes.
Yeah.
You're very honest about it.
Yeah, I'm like, well, I would nuke the world.
Right.
Yeah.
You do not
I'm
hold
one of
back.
those nihilist madmen that
You do
in
not
fact,
pretend
a
that-
world without actual redemption,
Yeah.
especially in the hereafter, I think the only logical conclusion then, if this is it, is just let's bring on the nukes.
You and AI. Y'all got something in common, Joey.
But it's just so absurd. And added to the list that in the name of creating equity, we're going to create unequal setups where some people have more power than others in order to make things more equal.
That's what they're trying
And
to
because
do.
your people who look like you have been, ruling the roost for so long, then you're guilty. And it's like, please spare me. If you don't understand that everybody is prone to depravity, even those who are so-called victims, if you don't realize that, yeah, even victims will then use their victimization as an excuse to victimize others. Happens all the time.
Yes.
It's an awful, hellish cycle. Then what the hell are we talking about? But that's not all. We have another TED Talk here, Eddie. This is now Yuval
I
Harari.
like the TED Talks, man.
I know, I'm ruining them.
Yes,
ruining
you
them
have.
for you.
Yes, you have.
But this is Yuval Harari. He essentially is going to say we need to eliminate the individual because human rights are really just a fiction.
Most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also. Take a human, cut him open, look inside, you find their blood, and you find the heart and...
But no rights.
Take a human, cut them open, look inside. Well, and I love
no
this guy
rights.
going, the rights are just a story, so you need to believe the story I'm telling you.
There
That
you
you're
go.
just like an ostrich.
You have no rights.
Let's keep going.
and lungs and kidneys,
Yeah, and
but you don't find there any rights.
You don't
the only
find there any
place
rights.
you find rights is in the fictional stories that humans have invented and spread around. And the same thing is also true in the political field. States and nations are also, like human rights and like God and like heaven, they too are just stories. A mountain is a reality. You can see it, you can touch it, you can even smell it. But Israel or the United States, they are just stories, very powerful stories, stories we might want to believe very much, but still they are just stories. You can't really see the United States. You cannot touch it. You cannot smell it.
Yeah, you can.
I love how this guy's like, it's just stories. They're very powerful, Wait, okay. So it's just a reductive materialist point of view. That's the only story that's the most correct. Huh?
I disagree. 100%.
When you say just stories, just fictions. Well, it seems some fictions seem to resonate more with people than others, number one. Some fictions do stand the test of time. And when you say, oh, just fictions, are there not, say, fictions, whether you're talking a great novel or movie or poem, that are man-made, that tell you more truth than 2 + 2? But you can't really see math, Eddie, either. Nope. Just fictions, folks. Just fictions. But, okay, human beings are creating the fictions. It's just stuff we create. And if you cut them open, it's just heart and lungs and kidney and all that.
If you get attacked by a bear and you start screaming human rights.
Yeah. Well, the bear don't care.
Right.
These are just conventions.
He's looking for them, though.
Yeah, but so the stories, the fictions come from human beings. And where do human beings come from?
My understanding, we come from God.
Yeah, we come from, I would say, nature, and nature is God. Is where I would go with it. But if it's just stories, yet, and it's only things human beings create, yet human beings are of nature and of the existence itself, then aren't the stories just as real as anything that is out there that you could cut open? This butcher. This is the man who was recommended by Oprah and Barack Obama. Oh, read his book, Homo Sapiens, and I read it. I went to throw it in the damn fire. Yeah, I'm a book burner. Because this man, if you put him in charge, is a butcher. And at the same time, he's trying to damn all your conventions and all your stories, ones that have lasted generations and thousands of years. He's trying to get you to buy into his story.
Mm-hmm.
But that line, just fictions. People underestimate our capacity to manifest things in this world. Just fictions. That said, this part of the program brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. And you know, fellas, two things can happen as men mature. Two things affect us the most. Erectile dysfunction's one, and that's no fun. Dysfunction in the bedroom. It's embarrassing. It's not a lot of fun at all. Or more generally, you might have low testosterone, low T problems. Again, these are nothing to deny, put off, or be ashamed about, and it's certainly not something to wait to get fixed. I know guys hate going to the doctor, but Montgomery Men's Health was created to take care of guys just like us. The reality is, pills often quit working. You know, when you're having those bedroom issues, the pills have diminishing returns.
I see.
And guys start making excuses for not coming to bed. In fact, there have been studies done, Eddie, that men will be more irritable and argumentative on purpose before bed.
Yeah.
Just to avoid failing at intimacy. They know they're going to have a problem. They have anxiety about it. So they just pick a fight so the mood is gone.
Sounds like a manly thing to do, actually. It's what men do.
So, guys, if you're lacking motivation, energy, always tired, including mentally tired, you feel like you're walking through life in a fog, you're seeing a decrease in your sex drive, loss of muscle mass, knowing whether you have low T is huge in combating some of these issues. Did you know that as you age, a testosterone and PSA check should be part of your annual men's health routine, even for guys as young as 18? And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. Montgomery Men's Health also has low T treatments if you do in fact have low T that can change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. That's right, brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism, you usually even notice an increased libido.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
You can actually book the same day that you call. Guys, it's time to feel amazing and hit your goals this year. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today. Let's go to Pat. Hey, okay. Pat, how you doing?
Oh, I was doing good until I heard that last quote, and my blood pressure just kind of went through the roof. And,
yeah.
It's like a previous caller when he called in and was talking about heaven and hell. You know, those are your choices. You know, you can choose heaven, you can choose hell, and it's our choice. That guy that says it's fiction, he's in for a very rude awakening one day because he's going to stand before his creator and go, "Ooh, you mean it was real?"
All right.
And he's going to pay a price for it. And the lady that was on before him, I didn't understand a damn thing.
Well, it sounds like you engage in a lot of colonial violence then, Pat.
Yeah, I guess I'm just old because you played it 2 and 3 and 4
I know.
times, and I'm sitting there going, what in the
I'll try
heck
this
is
time.
that woman saying? So, anyway.
Oh, well,
y'all
appreciate
have
it.
a blessed day.
You too, Pat. Thank you, buddy.
God bless. Let's go to line 1. Paul, how you doing?
Joey. So you're telling me that the pills don't work, and if you're taking them, they just sooner or later you're going to be failed when you need to rely on them?
Pills can stop working, yep.
Yep.
Good thing I never started taking them, huh?
There you go.
All natural still. All right, Paul.
Yeah. But,
Cat can't scratch it, baby.
I won't be. Don't get me laughing. I won't be able to talk. But I've always had this look at what that man was saying. There's all sort of people in this world. There are believers. There are non-believers. There are people who say that they're believers that are really not believers. And they are non-believers because if you listen to the way they talk and the way they act, they just haven't accepted Christ as their personal Lord and Savior. Personally, I'd rather go through life believing what the Scriptures teach, and then when it comes down to it, they be wrong. What's that going to hurt me? Whereas if I reject the Scriptures, and when that time comes, whoa, I'm in deep, yeah.
Yeah?
Yep.
Yep.
So where does that truly leave us?
Well, it should be with fear of the Lord and humility about the why and wherefore of the entire existence we find ourselves in, I think is the place to be. You know, I admit fully, I tend to relate most to the teacher in Ecclesiastes. And I'm not talking about the one who introduces them. I'm talking about the guy who says all is hevel, essentially. I often relate to that these days. But, you know, how that ends is fear the Lord.
Yeah.
Keep his commandments, even if you're having trouble.
And the other side of that coin, a lot of people, they take the term fear of the Lord as being in fear of the Lord. That's not exactly what that translates to.
Right.
You get you down a concordance, you get you down a Greek and Hebrew translation, and what it boils down to is a deep respect, a reverence.
Yep.
But there's so many of them that, oh, you got to be afraid of the... No, that's not it. And furthermore, Lucifer has nothing on us as long as we are walking, talking, breathing children of God. On the other hand, well, all I'm going to say to that is how many times through Scripture are we told, be not afraid, do not fear.
Well,
and I've been in and out. I had to talk the whole show. I did catch the interview with Mr. Dick, and that a little bit about that fella who doesn't believe is how I'm going to say to him. And the lady before that, the gentleman that Pat was talking about, I completely missed that. I must have been on a fuel line and fueling the truck. All right. Later, guys.
Later, Paul. 272-9228. I cannot tell a lie. Joey chopped down the cherry tree, says Patriots are. Well, that's kind of freaky. You don't have the capability to lie.
You got horse teeth or something? You got wooden teeth or something? Got a new hairstyle under that hat?
I got a haircut, yeah.
Yeah, but ain't no George Washington. You got no white woolly wig.
I don't know. Well, as far as you know, big boy.
As far as I want to know.
Some Tuesday nights.
As far as I want to know.
Get out my quill and my parchment.
Let's see.
And start dipping it in some ink and see what happens. That's what I do occasionally. Every other Tuesday night.
Every other Tuesday night?
Don't come and knocking.
You put the do not disturb sign out, do you? Put the tie on the door?
I'm doing some heavy duty philosophizing with my ink and parchment here, my little quill.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, it's just crazy. Especially with that Yuval Harari guy saying. The other lady we played, whatever, is I think it's just comic gobbledygook.
Yeah.
But with this guy, I think people should take it as seriously as a heart attack, in the sense that the transhumanist idea is very real.
It is.
There are a lot of very powerful, rich people that like that idea.
Yep.
They're essentially going to end not only individuality, I think you're going to get to a point where you won't just choose, oh, I'm a man or I'm a woman. It's not just gender that's fluid, it's your very species that's fluid. That this mind that you carry around, we can transport and fuse you with technology, and
You have that
these
now.
minds we're building out of silicon.
You have that now. You have people walking around thinking they're cats
Well, there's that too.
in the litter box.
Right, but have you seen some of those folks? I'm kind of convinced.
I've seen some of the ones that had the surgeries and all that.
Here's the beautiful thing, though. Even the folks that turn themselves into cats, cats ain't impressed. Actual cats.
Not impressed at all.
They know
still
what's
hiss
up.
at them.
You know, like we saw the Egyptians try to do
Yep.
this. Good luck with you know.
Right.
Didn't go well for them, did it?
Nope.
272-9228. Let's hit this break.
All right.
More news and views in the afternoon after this.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
This is former Alabama Supreme Court Justice Glenn Murdoch. Alabama is a great place to live and work and raise our families because Alabamians are a good people of faith and traditional values. But a huge gambling bill in Montgomery would change our culture forever. 10 massive casinos bringing more crime to our big cities and small towns, highly addictive cell phone betting, and the state selling the lie of lottery riches to the poor and most vulnerable. With all that's wrong in the world, this is no time to give up on our traditional values in Alabama. Call and ask your senator to be the leader you elected them to be. To stand strong and vote no on gambling and keep Alabama a great place to live and work and raise our families. Thank you.
Call your senator at 334-261-0800, 334-261-0800, 334-261-0800. Paid for by Eagle Forum, Alabama.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For many years, my team and I have worked diligently to provide our veterans with top-notch service, as it is our honor to serve those who have served us in the armed forces. Madeline and I are certified veteran lending specialists. Nationwide, there are over 22 million veterans that qualify to purchase a home through the VA loan program. Yet less than 2 million of them currently have a VA home loan. Many lenders do not keep up with the ever-changing guidelines and benefits of the VA loan program. They are intimidated by the program, resulting in many veterans not obtaining VA loans. This is unacceptable. The VA home loan program offers service members and veterans with 100% financing. You've already paid your down payment. If you are currently serving or have honorably discharged, we would love an opportunity to discuss how the VA program can serve you. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223 or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Thank you for your service. NMLS 1586-368, Equal Housing Lender.
Call Prune Masters, the professional pruners with over 30 years of experience, and that's all they do. To find out how you can get your hedges professionally pruned, call 220-2200 for a free estimate. Prune Masters, 220-2200.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
I'm Cam Marston. My radio show and podcast called What's Working with Cam Marston focuses on the workplace, workforce, and marketplace trends shaping Alabama business. My guests tell their stories and discuss their business expertise in such a way that you and I can learn from them and apply it to our own world. Listen to What's Working with Cam Marston each Saturday at noon right here on News Talk 93.1.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man. Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431, or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Hi, this is Don Duncan with Don Duncan's All-American Automotive and Tire. Just want to say a big thank you to Blue Water Broadcasting. They've been a big partner in our success. And again, thank you guys so much for all you've done for us. If you need anything, come see us. Again, this is Don Duncan with All-American Auto and Tire.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
Rich Thomas weather brought to you by H&H Carpets, where you will find a complete line of Mohawk carpet with exceptionally clean, smart strand fiber. It's always available and ready to be installed. H&H Carpets, across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Hi, everybody. We have weather changes on the way, but if you have evening plans tonight, no problem. We'll be mostly cloudy and dry, very mild. Overnight low temperature down to about 66. Now, tomorrow, with a high up to about 86, scattered showers and thunderstorms, especially in the afternoon and evening hours as a cold front sweeps through the area. Some of the storms strong, possibly severe. Then, behind the front, on Wednesday, much cooler, breezy, with highs only in the 60s Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That's a big setback. We'll be down to 39 by Thursday night. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
At CB&S Bank, we've been meeting the needs of our customers since 1906. Need help setting up new business goals? Our line of commercial loans can help you achieve them. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
The River Region's first and only news talk station on FM. Live, local talk. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm Joey, he's Eddie.
Yo!
And we didn't get into this Alabama snake guide at all. I know the show before us did.
Yeah.
But Erica Thomas wrote this up, and it's gone super viral. People like talking about them snakes.
Well, here in Alabama, we've got a lot of them, Joey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not a big snake guy.
Yeah, we haven't played the clip yet of the local, he's the only openly gay, emphasis on openly, member of the Alabama legislature.
Okay.
I always wonder about that. First, openly. Like,
well, there you go.
Like cinema in the U.S. Senate.
Yeah.
Is like,
come on.
Wait, do you mean there were other bisexuals?
Yeah, I think. Probably. You think there was more than one Epstein Island, Joey? Hello?
Yeah, I think there probably was. Like,
Is.
the diddler is still in question.
Right.
You seen the 50 Cent videos making the rounds?
Watched some of them last
Like,
night.
the dude asked me to go shopping with him. I'll pay for everything, 50. It's like,
I know how you felt. I felt very uncomfortable.
no, that wouldn't make me uncomfortable.
Well, you shouldn't have asked me. I felt very uncomfortable when you asked me to go on a shopping spree with you.
I didn't offer to pay, though.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
No, but seriously, if a guy with a straight face came up to me and said, I'll take you shopping and, I'll pay for everything, I would be very weirded out.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Yeah, it's like, you better be a family member at least. You know what I mean?
I mean, one thing, hey, there's a funeral or a wedding coming up, and we take you in a suit. Great.
Right.
But I'm taking
You got to up your game.
I'm taking you
Just
shopping. It's all on me, baby.
Okay, Diddy.
No.
The diddler.
Going to the outlets.
But this is State Rep Neil Rafferty out of Birmingham.
Okay.
He went so far as to dub the recent Alabama law they passed that essentially bans divisive concepts such as DEI.
Oh, yeah.
Critical race theory. And other divisive concepts. He calls it the Don't Say Gay bill.
Huh?
I thought that was only in Florida.
I don't even think that was the name of the bill there.
And given this generation coming up is like the gayest ever, I don't think people are going to stop talking about it.
I don't think so.
Yeah. But here's what he has to say about the effect of some of these laws in the classroom.
Oh, okay.
Representative Neil Rafferty, Alabama's only legislator who publicly identifies as gay, warns the bill could seriously interfere with the school curriculum in unexpected ways.
It is a super problematic bill. It's become so vague that can you even talk about Martha Washington being married to George Washington, because Martha Washington was a woman, wife, right, who married a man, George Washington. So that's a heterosexual relationship.
That's sexual orientation.
That's sexual orientation. Now you're talking about gender identity and sexual orientation.
Any questions?
Or are you just talking about George Washington?
Right. Or can we make something out of nothing? Can I get on CNN?
Well, but like, what does George Washington cutting down the cherry tree or crossing the Delaware have to do with, sex with Martha?
I'm telling you.
And also, like, why would you reduce marriage to your one
That's
sexuality?
The part I don't get. It's so much more than that. I don't get it.
Well, and what he's doing is he's trying to frame the issue in the latest science. So it's all about sexuality and gender identity.
Nobody cares.
Well, some people care.
You really care that
you sounded like Peter Griffin there. Nobody cares.
I'm at that point. I don't care. What I learned about George Washington, it was great. I learned his wife's name was Martha.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else they said beyond that, I didn't listen, and I don't care. I don't care.
Right.
What'd she do? She was the one that made him happy. Good deal. Let's move on.
Well, let's go to like Mount Vernon sometime.
I'm down.
Take the tour. I remember doing that, and yeah, there's some pretty heinous stuff there. When you see that time period, how rough people were.
Any time period you look back on.
Sure. This is what I mean. It's like, but also I'm on this big kick. I was telling my family yesterday that it's an old, I think it's Ronca. It's an old quote from some poet. It said, all eras are equal in the eyes of God. So, like, we often look back and go, look how stupid, like, Queen Elizabeth and Shakespeare were. Well, not too many people say that about Shakespeare, but look how dated he is in some of his references and whatnot. Look at how bad and crazy the Romans or the Greeks were, or medieval Christian Europe. Well, have you ever had the time and the poise to go, well, what do you think they would think of us? Take their ideas pretty seriously.
Yeah.
And don't just assume we've progressed. Like, I think that's the hubris of our age. We've clearly progressed and gotten better. I think where we clearly progressed and gotten better has been more technological and economic.
Yeah, I don't think we've gotten better all the way around. No.
Mm-mm.
No.
Yeah, so I don't know. Good for Rep Rafferty for getting on CNN.
But that's all I could see is I got on CNN.
Well, how many people watch that now? Well, they're getting older.
The audience?
Yeah. Like when I first started watching cable news, like in college.
Yeah.
The average age, I think, was late 50s, 60. As I started doing work here, the average age was like 65. I think it's now in the 70s.
Yeah,
people who watch it. Like that audience, that core group is, number one, shrinking. Like compared to a lot of these podcasts I watch, I love showing to my 80-something-year-old grandfather, by the way. Like, this is what I watch. Now, he watches a lot of... He doesn't watch cable news. He watches a lot of sports.
Okay.
If he and he's got a few shows like, and I'll watch with him, like Fool Us, like the Penn and Teller show.
Mhm.
Like, those are great. But I'm like, hey, let's not just do TV. Like, so I've showed him the Flagrant podcast. I've shown him some Rogan. Shown him some Lex Friedman.
Mom's house?
I haven't gone that far with your mom's house. I don't think he's ready for your
No,
mom's
he's
house. Not many people are ready for your mom's
No, they're
house.
not. No, they're not.
That's when I heard 1819 News with Andrea Tice saying Tom Segura's in town. I'm like, keep them high and tight. Okay, mommy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's just such a interesting time where the big dogs are sort of losing their sway.
They are.
Society's being recreated. And I think there are a lot of folks from different walks of life who are going to do the right thing. But right now, I think our political fights at the end of the day are just nonsense.
They are, and they take up and I know this is what we do for a living, but they take up way too much of our time. Not just you and I, but just in general.
Well, it's a bad way to organize society. I think if you're going to have politics, if you're going to have governance, it should be as local as possible.
Right.
I really don't have an issue if the people here who live in Montgomery want to vote to have a, say, millage increase on property taxes. I'm going to vote against it.
Right.
But if they vote for it, okay, it's not the end of the
You still
world.
have the option. You can say,
I could
lost
move.
my vote. I can move, or I
Right.
can just suck it up and say, okay, this is what the people
Right, and even
decided.
if we vehemently disagree, you're my neighbor.
You're still my neighbor.
Let's sit down and talk this out.
We have more in common than we have.
So I don't mind a lot more government at the very local level, and I still do believe in basic liberties. But a lot of stuff we now call rights and liberties, you're talking about public spaces that are funded by people whose funds are stolen from them, taxes, and have to go a particular way. And I'm like, no, as soon as public schools have been the most litigious institution in our society for good reason. When you're talking about what kids are taught, then of course people are going to get a little bit worked up about that, especially when you have fundamental disagreements. So,
agreed.
I would like for it to go much more local, but again, and Rafferty actually goes on to say this wasn't a homegrown Alabama issue. This is a national agenda.
And I think that's part of the plan is the more they can keep it not local, the less control, the less input you and I have and others have.
Right. That's why
by the plan, man.
Whether in this issue or the Prattville Library, they run to CNN because, well, that's their juice. Like, you better believe it, folks. The juice is there when it comes to the New York Times still.
Oh, yeah.
And CNN still has a bit of a fire hose. And with this, for instance, Alabama District 2, you know, Shamari Figures and Anthony Daniels are both throwing essentially carpetbagger at one another.
How can they both?
You ain't even from here.
So,
and actually,
how
I
do we
think
clear
it's
that up?
kind
Is
of
neither
true.
one of them from here?
I think it's kind of true of both of them. Well, in the sense, Daniels, I think, has a better claim because he grew up right from around here. People know him as AD around here.
Okay.
Like he was going to be a star basketball player, and he got injured, like that story he told us the other day.
Okay.
And Shamari Figures does have family that's here.
Ah.
But there's a lot of outside money being poured in. And it's not just going to be outside money from donors. It's going to be MSNBC covering this stuff. It's going to be CNN covering this stuff. So whether it's Caroline Dobson or Dick Brubaker, they better get ready because it's not going to be people like me or folks over the Montgomery Advertiser or AL.com or 1819 News that you're going to have to just talk to. It's going to be a national affair. And that's unfortunate.
Could you ever imagine a local election where there was no way that outside money from Alabama could touch the election? A true local election.
It'd be different.
It would be. A lot.
Well, without the Washington Post, do you think Roy Moore gets elected? Young girl, get out
Good
of my
point there,
mind.
Joseph. Good point.
I want to switch over to, yeah, but that's just so absurd. You can't teach about Martha and George Washington because they're both straight or something.
I don't get it.
Well, it's actually kind of a genius move by Rafferty, or clever move. I'll give him that.
gotta
Or
be
it's like
saying his
he's going to
name.
put the whole thing in the context of his framing. Like, fair enough. But people were teaching that long before
Here's the thing:
those
when
newfangled ideas came along.
nobody gets called out on their BS anymore. They just let you spew it. And
yeah.
In my world, that doesn't happen. You get about 2 sentences of BS before somebody calls you out on it.
Now we're running out of time here for this segment. So speaking of BS, how about these jobs reports?
Joey.
Yeah. So Peter St. Onge, the name of his video that came out today, again, it's at Prof. St. Onge on Twitter X. Peter St. Onge, the headline is Jobs Overstated by 800,000.
A few years ago, this used to be the normal.
Let's listen into Peter.
The Philly Fed just admitted that the payroll numbers are cooked to the tune of 800,000 jobs that are not real. The first warnings came last year when the Philly Fed's quarterly census of employment and wages found that instead of the 1.1 million jobs reported by Joe Biden's BLS, the actual number was 10,000. So that is an astounding miss. It's a 110-fold miss. It takes us from healthy job growth to nothing. In fact, according to Philly, 23 states actually lost jobs in that period. Now, you might recall media banging on how stupid Americans are for not appreciating the Biden miracle. As Paul Krugman put it, quote, there is a huge disconnect between public perception and reality.
Right.
And here we are again. The latest Philly numbers say the BLS is overstating jobs once again by 800,000 through December, and likely over 1 million once again if you extend the gap into this year. That implies job growth nationwide that's about half what official numbers are saying, which suggests that a lot of the stellar unemployment rate right now is not people with jobs, it is people who have given up or dropped out of the workforce.
Yep.
Now, this is pretty bad considering Washington is currently flooding the nation with $6 trillion in spending, of which $2 trillion is debt. That should at least goose the job numbers since somebody is getting all of that money. So how can they cook numbers, you might ask? Easy. Major government numbers are mostly made of statistics. Adjustments like seasonal adjustment or so-called company birth-death models that try to estimate how many new companies there are and how many have gone away, they don't actually count the stuff. The reason they don't count is because most data is not available in real time. A lot of it simply doesn't exist. So companies and workers don't respond to questionnaires, or they return shoddy data. They just fill in whatever, since the people filling in government surveys are not the A-team. So government statisticians will take those little stray bits of data they have and statistically adjust them through a series of funhouse mirrors until they look truthy enough. What you get out the other end, in theory, more or less captures the full picture of how many people have jobs, or how much consumers are spending, or how many factories are being built or shutting down. The problem, of course, is who is doing that adjustment and what is their incentives. So you might assume a government statistician's goal is accuracy, since in theory, if you're a bad statistician, you'll get fired. In reality, of course, government workers do not get fired for shoddy work, only for liking Donald Trump posts. What government statisticians can get punished for, say demoted or reassigned to Fargo, is not playing ball.
Yep.
So in government, playing ball means saying what needs to be said so that your boss can get some more budget love from the White House and Congress. So spot the problem. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. The lies will get worse as the economy gets worse. Bigger screw-ups require bigger lies. There was, of course, a time that rigged government statistics was crazy talk. I myself might have considered it crazy talk a few years ago. I don't anymore. And apparently, on jobs at least, the Philly Fed agrees. A new episode of the Roundup podcast just dropped. Check it out at petersaintonge.com. Okay, we'll be watching. See you next time.
Really love those videos. He puts them out every day, folks. Peter St. Onge, and great
Doesn't
guy.
run out of material, does he, Joey?
He's a great dude.
He is.
Very smart dude, too. I kind of miss the guy. Used to get beers with him.
Yeah.
Over in Auburn. But, hey, we got to hit this quick break. Hopefully we'll have Ray Bowles on the other side.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
How do you know once you pass that family and friends will get what you promised, and that someone won't destroy or replace your will or trust with a fake one? How many copies of your will do you have, and do your loved ones know where it is? Every time you change your will, you have to copy, distribute, and have it notarized. Put a stop to all of this at secureawill.com, where your important documents like last will, trust, or goodbye letter are stored until your passing. Then they send your info to whomever you've requested. You'll be 100% safe with voice biometrics and their new video signature. Visit them at secure-a-will.com.
Live, local talk. The River Region's most trusted voice for news and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Or as we're calling it online, Joey Clark Live. Appreciate all the love today. Let's go to Ray Bowles from Bradville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
I am glad to be home.
Yeah, back in one piece?
Well, man, that Friday flight was horrible. Somebody snuck on our plane.
What?
We had a stowaway on the plane.
What in the world?
Oh, yeah. It was awful because we were like, you know how you see the next plane taking off? You're like, yeah, we're ready to go.
Yeah.
And the pilot comes over and says, hey, there's something wrong with our manifest. We got to go back to the gate. So they be brought back to the gate. 5 officers fly onto the plane, pull this guy off, and apparently he had taken a picture of somebody's ticket in the airport, just randomly, and it happened to be our plane, and went on there, and both people were sitting on the plane when they figured it out. Oh, yeah. I'm like, if they would have figured it out 3 minutes later, we'd have been in the air, and I could have been home on time. Instead, I literally drove up in the driveway at 1:30 Saturday morning.
So he was able to snap a picture of the ticket and then use that at like when you check in to go down the walkway.
Oh, I got through TSA. How he did that, I will never know.
Wow.
They literally was sitting on our plane. Yeah.
That could have been a lot worse. That's, when I was coming back from Montgomery connection flight to Atlanta Montgomery, they're just like, y'all have a weight problem. I'm like, that's rude.
Yeah. Not me.
Yeah, it ain't me. It's this broad next to me.
It might have to do with the six pieces of luggage we had underneath the plane.
So the store was all in one piece when you got back to?
It ran like a champ, man. You should see all the jobs on the book. The guys did great. Dad's not lost any hair. It's turned a little bit whiter. But, yeah, the store went great. So if you need a floor, call us today, 285-8117. We'll come out to you, that free measurement, and boom, it'll be done that fast. And, guys, for the last time, I don't know where it is. I don't know the controller.
But keep watching the Prattville Carpet Facebook page. And where else can people find clues?
Facebook and our website.
Okay, prattvillecarpet.com. And again, that number, 285-8117. And be sure to tell them when you call 285-8117 that you heard Ray Bowles here on the radio with Joey and Eddie.
Guys, have a great day.
You too, Ray.
Yeah, you missed that because you're taking another call. But he said they had a stowaway on their flight where they're like taxied up to the runway. Mm-hmm. And the pilot came on, we have a problem with our manifest. And there was some guy took a picture.
Dude, I read the story.
Yeah.
The dude took a picture of a boarding pass, and they let him. Dude, they don't barely let me on the planes with the boarding pass.
I know.
How do these people just get on through?
I know.
I read that story. That's incredible.
That was his flight back.
Wow. That's that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But the call off air, and it was a good point. Someone called in and he said, hey, the issue they're having with Trump, they thought they voted for the Trump they see on The Apprentice.
Yeah.
The Trump that they got in the White House was not the Trump they saw on The Apprentice.
It's a good question to Trump.
Right. And that's, and it was a person of color. And they said, that in my world, that's what we feel like we were hoodwinked. That we didn't get the character that we thought we were getting. And I've never heard it explained to me that way at all.
No, I think
and
that's
finally
beautifully
that's something.
put.
Yes, finally something I can see some difference.
Folks around Trump, I think, understand that he now knows and will admit I made mistakes when he first got in.
I agree.
He trusted the establishment way too much.
Right, and the other point he was making was when Trump gets bad economic news, how is he going to handle it? Because he can be so over the top.
Right.
But with
We'll
Trump,
see.
I didn't get any bad economic news, so I didn't have to worry about that.
Well, until he remember that Oval Office
I know what you're
speech
talking
when shut down travel from Europe. I'm like, damn,
I still got to go to Jamaica. Always good.
No, and there were moments where watching the
Oh.
press conferences during COVID, it was like, dude, just shut your
up.
mouth.
How many times did we say, Trump, just turn off the mic and walk
He
away?
made so many mistakes in that COVID year.
Yeah.
But, goodness gracious. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But great show today, Ed.
Had a good time, man.
And you're going to go fishing? So
2
you ain't gonna
a.m. I'll be
tomorrow?
on Lake Martin. Nobody shoot at me, please. I'll
Well,
be fishing your lights.
Tomorrow we'll have Brylan Hollyhand in studio.
I'll be
in the
listening to
1
that,
o'clock
for sure.
hour. And then I think Caroline Dobson either in studio or over the phone at 2.
You tell Caroline I said hello.
Oh, of course. Of course. Y'all stay tuned. Happy Hour with Greg Budello. He's next.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center.